All right, Tracy, he's going to hope the early minutes are more productive than they've been all season long. It is cold, as you would expect. Wind chill under 20. But Houston has been notoriously slow starting this season. Interesting, Tony, they win the toss and want the football on the road to begin it.
Well, I can tell you right now, they have to get off to a good start. You don't want to get behind. You see what happens, Tennessee, what they've done in their 2 games in the playoffs. They get ahead, they run the football, and you can stay in phase and play the game you want to. Houston rushed for almost 200 yards when they beat Kansas City earlier this year. That's what they need to do today if they're going to come in here and win.
Harrison Butker has it on the tee. DeAndre Carter back deep for Houston. Butker, one of the best in the business. And he's not going to allow a return. So a defense for Kansas City without Chris Jones and without Juan Thornhill, about to face Deshaun Watson and this Houston bunch that came from 16 down to win in overtime against Buffalo. You see the numbers that Watson had, again, speaking to the slow start, but the big second half and overtime performance led by number 4. 20 of 25 in that game overall, the most accurate passing performance by a quarterback in the postseason in 3 years. Mike Pennell starts for Chris Jones on that defense, and Duke Johnson's in for the first play, not Carlos Hyde. Quick throw over to Hopkins, and he gets his hands on the ball, but only for about a yard. Brought down by Damian Wilson. This Texans offensive line, of course, they went out and traded and got Laramie Tunsil to try to anchor that left side. Chris Clark, longtime veteran, on the right. Hopkins, first team All-Pro, leads the way on the outside, and yes, they have Will Fuller up today. Fuller, Stills, Hopkins. It's a powerful trio. They'll run it with Hyde, and he's held to 2. He had his season best performance, you could argue, in the game here against Kansas City. 116 yards on the ground and a couple of touchdowns, but now Houston will face 3rd and long.
Well, and you see Chris Jones is not in there. We talked about him earlier being inactive. That is a huge, huge problem, I think, for Kansas City, as he's their best defensive lineman. These guys are going to have to, you see Chris Jones set the edge on the outside, stop the run, and get in these passing situations like this so they can blitz the quarterback.
3rd and 8. Fuller lined up off the left side, and they are able to get it to him for the first.
This is the way that Chris Jones helps this Kansas City defense, I believe, is the same for Will Fuller. On the inside on the left, you see Fuller get inside quickly on Matthew. Will Fuller, who has hurt a lot throughout his career, when healthy, is such a difference maker. You cannot call the defense the same way, because you cannot guard him and Hopkins one-on-one. Fuller takes the top off the coverage. You just cannot send the same amount of people around the line of scrimmage when he's out there.
They average almost 6 points more per game when he's up. And now on first down, going underneath to Hyde, and he's held to a 2-yard gain. The Texans in this divisional round for the 4th time, all have come on the road. They haven't won to get past this round, while the Chiefs at home have only won 1 of the last 8 postseason home games. The Texans' losses in the divisional round, twice at New England, once at Baltimore. Trying to go with this young franchise to a place it's never been. Here is on 2nd down to give to Hyde, and he tries to stretch it out. He's about a yard short. It'll be 3rd and 1 coming up.
Well, you see Clark right there, right tackle. Banged up a little bit on that play.
Tried to stand up on that right knee. That is an issue, and Rod Johnson's already come in for him. Medical crew will look at him. 3rd and 1 coming up after the timeout. Clark looked somewhat all right getting to the sideline, now into the tent. Rod Johnson replaces him. He started 3 games this year at right tackle. 3rd and 1 for Houston on the opening drive. We'll try to get it up top. They'll go deep. Wide open is Stills, and no one near him for a Houston touchdown on the opening drive. 50 54 yards. Watson to Kenny Stills. Someone lost him. And the Texans strike just 3 minutes into the game.
I can tell you right now, it's a great job of Bill O'Brien. So watch, on the snap, you're going to fake a bubble outside, and you get the whole defense right there to look down, and they're like, going. And you see Stills fakes like he's going to block, and they all buy it. And that's where your eyes on defense trick you. You think you see something, and really your responsibility is to cover your guy.
Extra point, Fairbairn is good. Watson 4 for 4. 4 for 4 on the opening drive and a 54-yard touchdown pass. No slow start this time. Back in 30 seconds after this from State Farm. Well, the Texans all season long on the road never scored an offensive touchdown in the first quarter. They had one touchdown. It was a defensive touchdown at Tampa in the first quarter. We talked about the slow start. Boy, did they get rid of that in a hurry.
Yeah, they did. And really, this is the difference. When Will Fuller's in the game, you really have to account for a lot of people. And then guess who gets open? We did their game earlier. Kenny Stills caught two touchdowns.
Yep.
Because all the attention is paid to the other guys. And you find very quickly right now that 7 points allows you the rest of this half to play the game the way you want to. Run the football. They can stay balanced, and that's really what Houston wanted by taking that ball first, Jim. Get points on the board.
Fairbairn's kick angled to the far side to the 5, and Hardman, the Pro Bowl returner for the AFC, is contained at about the 20. That touchdown came on a 3rd and 1. So now out comes Patrick Mahomes. Over the last 2 seasons, 76 touchdown passes. Just amazing what he's done. The numbers not as wacky or crazy as they were last year, but don't be deceived by that. He had another great year, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's it. Over a 5-to-1 ratio. Battled injury in the middle of the season. And now here he goes with his first snap of the postseason this year. Give to Williams, Damian Williams. And DJ Reader has him after 3. So this Kansas City offense, you know how electric it can be with the likes of Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and others who can get things done. You see the offensive line. Wisniewski moves to left guard with Wiley inactive. Hunter had Tyreek Hill had a couple of touchdown catches in the game against Houston back in October, and it looks like a pre-snap call. Yep, it's coming here. Sean Hockley.
Call start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, here's what we got, Jim. How do you stop them? You talk about all the great players. Teams have tried different things. We're going to do zone coverage. The problem with zone coverage is Tyreek Hill is so fast he runs through everybody. Even you're too deep, doesn't matter. So you have to play man coverage. The last time Houston played, they played man coverage, and that really gave them a chance.
Here's 2nd and 12. And again, they go underneath. It'll be about 3rd and 5 or 6. Conley ends up with the football, but the whistle blew. They're down after a gain of 6.
And what happens then is it becomes a matchup game. But at least when you play man, you can get your hands on these guys. And if Houston wants to win, they know Patrick Mahomes, he's got to get rid of this football quick. And we need to make sure and get our hands on these receivers. Don't let them use their speed. Now, the key, though, is going to be Travis Kelce. Because when you're playing man, he's sneaky, really, really tough to guard.
J.J. Watt comes in for this snap on 3rd down. 3rd and 6. Had that key sack in the late 3rd quarter against Buffalo that created the spark. And then Deshaun Watson, as he says, provided the fire. And that come from behind. One timeout called by Mahomes.
Timeout. Kansas City. They're first.
It's been such a fascinating postseason to see Tennessee win at New England, Tennessee win at Baltimore. Houston's come from behind win against Buffalo. I mean, the road teams have, look what the Titans have done. Look what some others have done already in the playoffs.
You're exactly right. And a lot of that, you know, in the playoffs, if you can run the football, you know, when it's cold, it's harder to throw the football when the weather gets, you know, everyone knows this. So if you can run the football and you can stop the run, you have a great opportunity. And obviously we know what Tennessee's done. And I think that's played out that way over and over again.
3rd and 6 from the 25. Pass dropped by Kelsey. Would have had the first down.
Well, and they try and fool him. They come down and they play man-to-man on Tyreek Hill, zone everywhere else, and Mahomes with a perfect throw. Kelsey finds a soft spot in the zone and with a big drop right there. In these games that you look back and there's always a play or two, Jim, that you're like, oh, this could have gone differently if that.
So quick work for the Chief offense. 3 and out. Colquitt is blocked, and it's picked up by the Texans to run it in for the touchdown. It's Lonnie Johnson with the recovery. Up the ramp he goes, and the Texans stunning everyone here in Kansas City in the opening minutes.
Well, we just talk about how big that 3rd down drop was. Very next play gives you a chance to come out and block a punt. I think Mingo, 52, right up the middle, gets that hand with great effort. And this stadium is stunned. Johnson runs it back in.
Colquitt, the longtime veteran, 15 years in the league. He had 1 punt block this year, is at New England, but it was Mingo who blocked it. Johnson, the rookie, who scooped it up and ran it back. 2 touchdowns in under 2 minutes. And just like that, it's 14-0 Houston. Who said they're slow starters? The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. The first and only nationwide FG network is here. McDonald's. And by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Brad Seeley, the special teams coach for the Texans. They've done a lot of really solid things this year. In fact, best in the league in terms of limiting punt return yardage by average, kick return yardage by average, first in both of those categories, and now they come up with a block and a run back for a touchdown.
I mean, you see it all the time in the playoffs. A special teams play can determine a football game, and Brad Seeley had his team ready.
Hardman this time from the 1. And again, limited options out near the 19. And let's bring in Jay Feely for more on the special teams of Houston. Jay.
Well, Jim, Bill O'Brien 2 years ago brought in Brad Seeley. Not only did he do that, a great special teams coach, but they made a commitment to go out and get core special team players. Mingo was one of those players, 5 or 6 guys that just play on special teams. It was something he wanted to do for a couple years. It's paying dividends. They went from 28th in the league to 4th this year, and a team commitment to special teams similar to New England when Bill O'Brien was there.
Okay, well, that huge play puts Mahomes and the Chiefs down by 2 touchdowns 5 minutes into the game, and here he rifles it, pulled down by Hill at the 35-yard line. Roby on the coverage, gain of 17.
Well, they're going to play tight man coverage. They're going to double Tyreek Hill, but the problem is you don't need to keep running. I'm just going to run up and stop in between the 2 guys, and Roby, you have outside leverage, and the safety will be inside leverage, but he's so deep. They're worried about him getting beat deep because of Hill's speed.
Williams, the running back. Sherman, the fullback, offset, and they'll go on the ground. Williams, no gain. They rushed for only 53 yards back in October in the loss to the Texans, and that Houston defense, as you take a look at the base lineup for them, including Blackson, Reeder, who's a good one, and of course J.J. Watt, who has now legendary status around this league, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, coming back off of IR. No one could have imagined he'd return from that pectoral injury, but he did, and was back last week to help fuel that win, that comeback win against the Bills. 2nd and 10. Over to Kelsey. Stiff arm and a first down. Trying to get Kelsey going after that first drop, and Conley ends the play after a 15-yard Kansas City gain.
Well, it's an RPO, right? He can hand it off or throw it, and all he did was figure out that Conley, his eyes were looking at the running back. Well, if you're guarding Kelsey and your eyes are looking at the running back, you're going to be late.
Kelsey showed up on the injury report this week with a tender knee. He said his body was out of alignment, but given the extra week of rest with the bye, he said he was going to be fine come Sunday.
Yes, and you see also, we talked about Watt. Watt's not on the field. It's first down. You'll see him in obvious passing situations.
Chasing after Mahomes. He flips it. Incomplete. Duke Johnson ends up with the football on the sideline. 2nd and 10 on the way. When they played the Texans, Mahomes threw for 3 touchdowns, but he was playing on a sore ankle that he had hurt in the previous game, and he was 4 days away from when he had the dislocated kneecap injury on a Thursday night, just again days later at Denver, that cost him a couple of games.
Yeah, and that's, it's football. Things like that are going to happen sometimes, but you saw this team, they're so talented and deep. They overcame it, and sometimes it can make you tougher. Like in this right now, 14-0, this team can come back. We know they're explosive, but they're tougher mentally, I think, and that has a way of showing in games that otherwise would be uncomfortable when you're down 14-0.
Kelsey brought down by Lonnie Johnson, who had the fumble return off the block punt for a touchdown. They're going to be seeing a lot of Lonnie Johnson today because Jaleel Adai is back in Houston. He did not make the trip out with a knee inactive. Of course, they lost to Sean Gibson a few weeks ago to injured reserve. So the likes of Lonnie Johnson, Mike Adams, I do have Jonathan Joseph up today, nursing a sore hamstring. 3rd and 5. Dropped again. If this time it's Robinson, and he would have had a first down. 2 drops ending the first 2 series for Kansas City.
They're big drops. We keep talking about it. You get the right play. Andy Reid dials up a man play and just on his back shoulder, but Robinson still has to come down with that.
So now Colquitt punting from the Houston 45. Carter back deep for Houston. He'll step up, fair catch it at the 15. About midway through the first, Houston has the football again. Stills first, Johnson second. Texans exploding at the start, 14-0. This is Deshaun Watson's 3rd postseason game. In the first 2, his Texans had been outscored 34-0 in the first half. Different story today.
Well, Will Fuller's playing with him today, and defensively, you're going to see Kansas City get softer, I think, after giving up a big play.
Here's the toss. Duke Johnson, he's still not down. He just brushed aside a couple of defenders and picked up a first down. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. We saw right tackle Chris Clark hobble off on that last offensive drive for the Texans. It is a right ankle injury. They taped it up. He's out there. He's going to play through it. One other thing to keep in mind is I had a chance to watch Deshaun Watson on the bench during those breaks, and he was having his right hand worked on. So certainly something to keep an eye on, guys.
First down at the 26. Now got to keep it. Got a block by Stills. And it's a good gain on first down of about 7.
This is the troubling thing for Kansas City. When they played in week 6, the rules of option football are just different than what you do week in, week out. And we've already seen 2 or 3 times the eyes of a defender for Kansas City are in the wrong place and not doing your responsibility. And that's the key. Assignment football. This is your assignment. Don't get caught looking at all the other stuff.
Here's a 2nd and 3. Hyde has the football, and he finds a crease. And Houston has a 2nd first down on this series that started back at the 15. Gain of 7. That's an interesting point, Tony, because it takes some adjustment, I guess. You're a defense, and all of a sudden you got a guy that's got so many ways he can beat you, like Deshaun Watson. If you're not ready for it, you haven't seen it a lot lately, you can be deceived.
You're exactly right, and that's what happened in week 6. Steve Spagnuolo said our eyes got in a little bit of a tough spot. We didn't tackle well, and before the end of the day, it's almost 200 yards rushing, and you lose.
Hyde again for another 4.
And it's looking eerily similar at the start of this game. They had 42 passes and 41 runs in that game. I mean, that's balance.
Carlos Hyde's been a big part of the story. Traded to Houston from Kansas City on the last day of August for Martinez Rankin, a backup guard who's on IR now with the Chiefs, and he has his first 1,000-yard season. You talk about that play distribution that first game. Houston held the football, time of possession, nearly 40 minutes. An all-time opponent record at Arrowhead. Here's a 2nd and 5, open, and falling ahead for another first down is Fuller.
Well, you see the impact. We're going to state it a bunch of times probably today, but see these safeties? They're deep. Will Fuller's right here. When they're deep, we don't need to run deep. Let's just run up and find a soft spot in the zone and just move the chains. And now when those safeties start getting one of them to come down, we're going to start throwing it behind you. And without Fuller, you commit one of the safeties to Hopkins. When he's in there, you worry about them both.
On first down, play action. Watson's got the time and bails out at the last moment to Duke Johnson, who tries to get stretching out every inch he can, but Reggie Ragland stayed home, drops him back for a loss of 1. Watson wanted to go deep, but nothing was there.
Well, they took their shot, and good job. Kansas City defense being prepared.
And again, this Kansas City defense without Juan Thornhill, the rookie who was coming on, he was a starter, blew out his ACL in week 17 against the Chargers, but he was getting better by the week.
He was, and him and Matthew back there together were an outstanding tandem, and that does hurt you because he really turned into a really, really good player about halfway through this year.
2nd and 11. Here comes the blitz. Going for Stills. And Breland on the coverage. And Watson saw they were coming after him and just got rid of it.
Well, he does a good job seeing the pressure coming. And I can tell you, when the pressure's coming at you, the ball's got to come out. Spagnuolo's going to blitz you. And he does a good job not taking a sack, keeping it in a manageable position to still possibly have 2 downs to get it. But if you're going to keep coming after him, that's living dangerously with this receiving core, too.
Terrell Suggs, number 94, the longtime Raven, most recently with the Cardinals. Claimed late in the season. He's contributed in his couple of weeks of action here, coming after Watson. Frank Clark has him with the sack back at around the 43. Pocket broke down. Suggs crashing in on one side, Clark the other, and they'll take the Texans off the field.
Well, this really is just a great design by Spagnuolo to fool Watson with the coverage, and Watson tries to run around and make a play, and Clark with great effort to just continue on the rush. And Kansas City needed that. I mean, could you imagine if they get in field goal range there after the start that's already happened?
Brian Anger back deep is Tyreek Hill.
And that's when you know it's a big possession.
Yep.
He puts him back there when it's important.
Big hang time. Ball is fumbled by Hill. Down at the 6 in a fight for the football.
I mean, how huge is this right here?
Here was Tyreek Hill, who had 1 punt return on the whole year, but Andy Reid and the Chiefs felt like, well, it's going to be Houston football. They had to try to do something to change the tide, and instead, it only gets worse for the Chiefs.
Wow, it backfired, and you want to talk about a start. Houston is off to literally 2 special teams plays that gets you a touchdown and the ball at the 1.
Keon Crossan makes the recovery. Traded this year from New England to the Texans. He played in that epic AFC title game last year, was on the field a lot in 2-man coverage on Hill that restricted Hill to only 1 catch in that overtime game. And it's Crossan who comes up with the football 35. Well, and the Texans are set up at the 6.
I tell you, Jones was the guy who got down in there right in front of him and fought through 3 or 4 guys to make Hill feel uncomfortable.
I thought he'd fair catch it, to be honest, with so much hang time there.
Well, he should have.
First and goal. Watson still has it. He's going to run with it and get to about the 4 before Daniel Sorensen helps drive him back. You see 87 Fells walking back to the huddle, and he is one to watch out for down in the red zone. The tight end, who has caught 7 touchdowns this year, has become a big part of this offense's success story in the red zone.
Well, you could tell right there, he's 6'7", 275 pounds, and he's a tough matchup, whoever guards him, and they use that size down here because you're so worried about the quarterback running. And what they're doing right here is looking at the defense, seeing what you're in. Okay, we're going to stick with this play. We're good. We like it.
Out of the gun on 2nd and goal. Across the middle, and is caught by Fells for the touchdown.
Oh, my gosh, he called it. And right there, he was a power forward, Jim.
Yep.
And he goes in and posts up a lot. And that size, you just bang it right on his chest. And if you give him an inch, his size, it's just too big. And wow, this stadium is stunned. Just watch him go right over the middle. You just throw it. He's just posting up half the time. And great job by your eyes, Watson, to hold the defense and fire it in there.
He played 123 basketball games, did Fells, for the University of California at Irvine. The Anteaters, including second-team All-Big West. And now posting up that Chiefs defense, getting position, and off the Hill fumble, the Texans are up 21-0. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the strongest, most advanced Chevy Silverados ever. And by H&R Block, where you know the price before you begin. They're in shock here.
They are.
Absolute shock.
I mean, if you watch football at all, we know Houston. They're tough, physical. This was going to be a game. You know, we said it before the game. I'm telling you, this is going to be a game very similar to a Tennessee-type team. But 21-0. Patrick Mahomes in his era has never been down 21 points in a football game.
Largest deficit of his professional career, his young career at that. But another mishandle. It's Hardman. Bought him some time, and he races out just past the 20. But what just an onslaught of miscues on the Kansas City side. Drops.
Well,
block punt.
And when we watch these, Jim, you see the drop again.
Then the fumble.
I mean, that's a ton in a quarter. And then what it shows you, though, is when you're the team who's supposed to win, and it's in the playoffs, there's a nervous kind of energy that takes place. And this is why experience and some of this stuff does help. But when you're such a favorite, it makes it harder sometimes. And people talk about the layoff, and it's like, oh, is it rust? They played in week 17. They needed to win that game.
And that another drop, although that probably would have been a loss on the play, but it goes right through the hands of Damian Williams. You're right, they went into week 17 having to play the Chargers. Who would have thought Miami was going to beat New England, which would move them up to the 2 line? But they did play 2 weeks ago.
Well, yeah, and this is what happens, though, is everything that you just normally think and just feel, and it's a natural reaction. Now you start thinking too much.
Yep.
It's like, and you get behind 7. That's why that first touchdown was so important. Give Bill O'Brien credit. Now you get a little bit anxious. You're like, we have to score on this drive. We're in the regular season. You're just like, we're going to play. We'll be fine. Now every play matters a ton.
And right through the hands of Robinson.
And each guy is trying to just catch it instead of just naturally react like you normally would.
Let's go to Tracy.
Well, Jim, you guys talked about the expectations that the Chiefs brought into this game, but on the other side, the Texans didn't have it at all. They came out here, they're playing loose. I saw Bill O'Brien during the pregame, and he came over, he said, we can't win, we can't win. That's what he's been telling his team all week. He knows how big of an underdog they are, and they are playing right now with a chip on their shoulder trying to prove something, guys.
He actually walked into our production meeting last night and said, nobody thinks we can win. It was the first thing out of his mouth. Here's the 3rd and 10. Mahomes has the time to throw. Oh, what a hit. As Hill's unable to hold on. He was walloped by Justin Reed, and there's no flag. And Hill is slow to get up.
Well, this is the same game plan Bill Belichick used in the AFC title game. We're going to go man-to-man, blitz you in the middle, and the safety's going to double Tyreek Hill on every play. Wherever he goes, I go help you. And he's right there when that throw comes in to break it up. And wow, Houston off to a perfect start.
And an injury timeout on the field with Hill. I tell you, this is what, not only if you're in the stands, but if you're other places around the country, you're a Chiefs fan, this is a frustration a lot of you are feeling right now. KC Wolf watching that off a monitor backstage. Hill sitting on the bench after being shaken up. And Colquitt back in that area where they blocked him earlier in this quarter. Carter fields it at the 38. And he's going to be right back to the 50. So another short field coming up for the Texans. 12-yard run back. Your access to awesome is coming your way on this 100th season of the NFL. AFC versus NFC showdown at the 2020 Pro Bowl presented by Verizon. You can tune in Sunday, January 26th, 3 Eastern on ESPN and ABC to see all the amazing plays, mic'd up players, and celebrations. Plus, don't forget the Pro Bowl Skills Showdown on Thursday, January 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. So, as Bill O'Brien and the Texans have everything going their way, you wonder how can the Chiefs try to get things settled down, Tony?
Well, first off, on defense, eye discipline, don't fall for the things, but really, it's more of just a mental side. Just be who you are all year. You've dropped passes.
As Hyde plows ahead for another 6.
You've dropped passes on offense, right? All these are so uncharacteristic of each of these guys. And each person's doing it once here, once there. Every play feels like the most important play, and that we have to have this because we're losing. And that's what happens. It's like when you're in a final round and the other guy birdies 4 in a row and you're 4 down. It's like, I have to birdie this hole. It's like, no, you just keep doing your job and do what you're supposed to do. And over time, this thing will get close. But you got to tell your team, literally, stop trying to do too much. Just go out there and be who you are.
2nd and 3, final seconds of the first quarter, as Hyde is going to be stopped just short of the first. This is the 298th game all time for Houston. 298. They put up more points today in the first quarter than in any other game in franchise history. 21-0 after 1, Houston. Look what Deshaun Watson did in that first quarter. 7 of 8, 2 touchdown passes, 1 covering 54 yards to Stills, the other 4 yards to Fells. Start the second with 3rd and 1. Watson's got a block from Hyde and is going to get the first down inside the Kansas City 40, but a marker is down and they're pointing in the direction of Houston.
Holding. Offense number 63. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
Boy, did Kansas City need that right there. Frank Clark makes Johnson get a holding call, but I tell you, this right here, Patrick Mahomes knows how important this time is. He's telling me, listen, they're playing man-to-man. We got to get going. Just be who you are. Hey, 1 play at a time now. They can't stop us, but it's a long game. How about that hold on Johnson?
He's
3rd and 1. Gives you a chance if you're Kansas City.
3rd and 11. Back at the 48 on the Texans side of the 50. Watson's pass, and it is caught for the first. That's Hopkins.
So watch the safety in the middle. Hopkins is one-on-one on the left side of your screen. That doesn't happen very often. And this throw is perfect. Down and away on the sideline, and Hopkins catches everything, and that is a catch. He's got great hands, and this is really difficult. There's not a lot of answers when you have a receiving core like this, a quarterback who can run like this. They can run the football. A lot of different scheme.
Got both of his running backs in, Johnson and Hyde. First down at the Chiefs 39 is Johnson off of Sorensen, and Sorensen holds on. Keeps him to 2. Hyde carry.
And we talked about it, Jim. Why Will Fuller, he's right there. 2 guys go looking for him. Stills on the touchdown. When everyone's healthy, and the Fuller effect, oh, we don't want to get beat deep because these guys have the ability to score quickly. Now we throw it short. But you saw Hopkins get one-on-one. That is a byproduct of having everybody healthy. Will Fuller's never been healthy, I don't believe, with Deshaun Watson in a playoff game.
Oh, the first time.
So people have never really seen this full offense. You're seeing it today.
2nd and 8. Pressure. Watson stands in there, and he guns it to Stills to the Chiefs 21 for another 16.
Well, this is a great throw, and guess what? They double Hopkins, they double Will Fuller, and now it leaves one-on-one with Stills and Hitchens. Really, that's just a tough matchup, and that's why I said there's not a lot of answers. Tracy talked about his hand earlier. You don't want any more hits to that hand on a helmet.
They go with Hyde. Passanio got a hand on him quickly, and it's only a gain of 1. Again, the winner of this game plays host next week for the AFC Championship, hosting the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee hosted Kansas City this year in November in Nashville and beat Kansas City in a wild one, 35-32. Houston and Tennessee have played twice in recent weeks, splitting. Here's a 2nd and 9. Watson flings it to Fells, and he can't make a clean handle.
Oh, and he took a big hit right at the end of that.
He's looking around like, wait a minute, I got hit in the head.
You shake that off a little bit. Some of that's, you're trying to pass protect, and it's really a good job. And Neiman of fighting, then Wilson comes in at the end and still keeps it a 3-score game if you can hold them to 3 if you're Kansas City. I know it's pretty darn early to talk about something like that, but this game's in the balance right now. Everybody, I know they have firepower, but this is a daunting task already. They have to get off the field, Kansas City, on this 3rd down.
Timeout, Houston.
Timeout, Houston. They're first. 30.
The Verizon halftime report will be coming up a little down the road as JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower. All the highlights from the first half coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Third and 9. Kelsey and all these weapons for Mahomes, they have been kept quiet. They've been kept off the field. It had 4 drops by our count, but now their defense must make a play.
Well, they know they're coming after him.
They protect Watson, give him all kinds of time. Over to Johnson, trying to find the marker. And he's just a little bit short. It's like the play he made on 3rd and 18 against Buffalo last week and just got there. This time about a foot short. And now
that's such a decision. I think you got to go for it. To me, it's a really good decision, Watson. They bail out of there. He moves around and does a good job of giving his team a chance to get the first down, and the effort by Johnson. And Bill O'Brien's going for this.
Yes, he is. They bring in Tywan Jones, who had the big catch last week. He set up the winning field goal, and they better watch the play clock here as Watson's already burned 1 timeout on this drive.
You got to take a timeout. You cannot rush up and run a 4th and 1.
And now the timeout is called. But you like the going for it approach here.
I do like going for it right here. To me, I mean, you have a quarterback who gives you the number advantage, right? So he can always run the ball in this situation. And the fact that he can do that means you're going to get a look that you know, the defense can only do so many things when you have a quarterback like this.
He's going to kick it. He's going to kick it. He's had a change of heart.
And I'm wondering if somebody's hurt or if the play they wanted was with a lineman. That's what I'm thinking, is that's why they couldn't get that playoff. Someone didn't come into the game that was supposed to be in a package, with an extra lineman or a tight end or something.
31 yards. Kaimi Fairbairn, he's made his last 35 attempts from inside 40. This is just 31 yards away, shorter than an extra point. Anger on the hold, and the kick is good. 24-0. Texans, 4 minutes into the second quarter. Texans just used another 4:55 on the clock and drove 38 yards to a field goal by Fairbairn, and it's 24-0.
Exactly how you saw this going.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that.
Well, we mentioned the time of possession.
Last time we talked about it, right?
39,
Week 6.
39-48, just 12 seconds shy of a 40-minute domination. And a return come in. It's Hardman. Johnson has an angle on him. Did he step out? They don't say stepped out. He takes it another 20 yards. Now a guy comes up and marks it at the 42. Back at the 42, and that is just what the Chiefs needed, is someone to make a play, and the Pro Bowl returner, Hardman, takes it 57 yards.
What a job, and you can see why he's a Pro Bowler. He's got speed. They drafted him, thought he got a little bit of the Tyreek Hill stuff in him.
Oh, yeah.
And Hardman shows you right there. He steps out a little bit, but I tell you, they needed that for the energy of the team. Now you're freed up a little bit. It gives you that little emotional, like, okay, we can do this. The spark is there. This environment just switched. And right now, this Chiefs team feels like you have a chance.
Well, here's a player that the Texans cannot afford to lose, Lonnie Johnson. They're already thin in the secondary with Adai out and at home. Armstrong inactive for this game. And
this
Johnson, who was chasing after Hardman on that return.
Well, and this is another huge moment because this is the guy guarding Kelsey.
Yep.
And really, there's not many options. At this point, if he's out or if he's really hurt and you're playing all this man coverage, and it's working right now, and there's a couple drops, but it's working because you're taking away Hill. If Kelsey gets a different matchup, you can just start throwing to Kelsey over and over again. And right now, he's man-to-man on the bottom of your screen.
Reed is on him. First down from the Texans, 42. Fake into the line and the toss up top, and there is Kelsey. He won the matchup, and he takes it all the way down to about the 16, and watch him go. He's going to do everything he can to connect everyone in this stadium and turn it around.
That's why one play. Watch it. The leverage, Reed, you're covering him. But Kelsey's so good, he beats the leverage. And that's why I'm saying, if Lonnie Johnson isn't in there, it's exactly what you should do. You attack that matchup.
Johnson remains sidelined on the Chiefs' first snap from the red zone in this game. Hill at the bottom, Hardman at the top. Pass caught on the run for the touchdown, Damian Williams. That's how fast they can do it. The big return, and 2 plays later, they find the end zone for the first time today.
Well, how quickly. Just watch. Little bump by Kelsey to get him open, and Williams gets the head around. Perfect throw. And Mahomes back shoulders it a little bit. And it's just a perfect play call by Andy Reid when they're pressuring up the middle. No way there that Martin can stay with that route.
First touchdown pass by Mahomes in a first half of a playoff game, and playoff game number 3 in his career.
This is interesting.
Going for 1.
And it's so early, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels like you want to keep it a 3 and now make it a 2-score game, but so much game left, especially after that quick drive.
Oh, it's so early. Still 10 minutes to go in the first half. Tack on the point. 2 plays and the strike. Hartman set it up with the return. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light Seltzer. It's unquestionably good. Control GX, the first and only great reducing shampoo. And by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 1-800-STATE FARM. Lamar Hunt, who coined the term Super Bowl, just a giant in football, founder and owner of the Chiefs, and had such a big impact on the early shaping of course, not only the AFL, but the NFL. And there's his son, Clark, now, who is so involved in his own special ways of leading around this league. Chairman of the influential NFL Finance Committee, member of the Commissioners Chairman's Committee, and part of the team that is involved in all those CBA negotiations last time and ongoing now. This year's nominees for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award: DJ Reader of the Texans, Dustin Colquitt of the Chiefs. Walter Payton Award recognizes the players who have made big contributions on the field and in the community. DJ Reader with his big mission to raise awareness for kidney disease by taking an active role in the National Kidney Foundation. And Dustin Colquitt, 13th year, partnering with Team Smile and helping thousands of underserved children receiving free dental care. Well done by them both. Go up the middle and Hyde, and the pile is pushed for 5 and a little beyond.
And this is the problem without Chris Jones. That middle is not quite as strong. And this game, with this lead, that's exactly what they're going to do, is run, make you commit those safeties to get one-on-one with this, the wide receivers, and then throw it to them. And
just rotten luck. Jones injured Thursday on the next to last play in practice. Calf injury. Worked him out today. Wasn't able to go. 2nd and 5. And stopped right away by Suggs. Gain of 1.
And I really thought that's another one. That's Terrell Suggs, everyone from Baltimore, all those years. And as soon as he showed up, the first thing they watched is him take notes for about 2 hours to 6 pages, and it's really helped this team since he's been here. And I think he's really good at setting the edge, being involved in the run game. And I thought the combination of him and Jones being out there, who they didn't have either in the first matchup, could have been proven difficult for Houston to do the same thing.
3rd and 4, and the Texans, 3 plays and a punt coming up. Thrown in the direction of Fuller. Ward had tight coverage, and Watson saw it and just threw it into the ground. And now dropping back for the Chiefs on the return will be Hardman. They snap it to Reed, and he is stopped by Sorensen. They snap it to the up back, and Reed is denied.
Houston with a great call, I think. Sorensen has to make an open field tackle with the whole side of the field. Watch, Reed's one-on-one with the whole field, and you just have to make a little move. And I tell you, Sorensen with a great tackle and giving his team great field position. And how quickly this is starting to shift, Jim. I know you thought it was over, but I told you, this team is explosive.
Don't put those words in my mouth. I think that's what you said during the break. We're heading to Houston.
This game is never over. It's
First
too long.
and 10, going deep and almost intercepted. As Hargraves made a play on the football. Jay Feely, what about that?
Well, as special teams going back and forth, but Tony, when you got a fake punt, you got to get up to the line and snap it. They waited.
Yes.
They allowed Kansas City to reset. They bring one of the gunners. They were doubled. They bring him in. They reset. And they're able to get the stop.
Well, and what happens sometimes there, and Jay's exactly right, it's got to be quick so you can go and surprise them. I don't think they quite knew if they wanted to, and so they're trying to see, Coach, should we do this? Thumbs up, thumbs down. And I think Jay was exactly right. If they'd have gone quick, it would have been an easy one.
Here's the 2nd and 10. Lonnie Johnson, by the way, back on the field for that Houston defense. And he was defending on that play, but he's going to get flagged. Interfering with Kelsey.
Well, this is going to be interesting because I don't know that he pass interfered him. Gene Sterator's with us here.
Yeah, Tony, you know what? When Johnson's not playing the football like that, any contact
Pass
at all.
interference. Defense number 32. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
You want to get your head around on that play so that you're playing football and not playing just that man.
Was he trying to there? And I agree, I think it's going to be called more likely, but was he trying to? Because if the head doesn't come around, it's obvious. But see him try and turn his head right there?
He is, though, but it's after he makes that contact, that initiated contact.
1st and goal off the 28-yard penalty. From the 5. Rolling, Mahomes flings it, and it falls incomplete.
Great discipline. Houston doing a good job. This usually is an easy touchdown. Tyreek Hill's coming across, Kelsey's coming, and they're both covered and nowhere to go with it.
This is where you see, as Watt's on the field for Houston, so many innovative plays that Andy Reid has drawn up through the years. Stacking 3 receivers to the right. Flings it. Caught. Touchdown, Kelsey.
You see how fired up Patrick Mahomes is? The stadium's getting fired up.
Mahomes ran 60 yards to the other end of the field in celebration.
Well, he knows this start is the worst case scenario. Kelsey wins the matchup. Perfect throw. The finish. Controls the ball. Look at this little sidearm. Down and away. Lonnie Johnson with good coverage. But Kelsey's just a tough matchup. Here they come. They're pretty quick to strike, Jim.
That is as quick a strike as any team in the league for sure over the last 2 years. No question about it. And they've cut a 24-point deficit as Butker attempts the extra point. Down to 10. Take advantage of stuffing out the fake punt. Mahomes with 2 touchdown passes in the 2nd quarter. 24-14. Texans had a couple of quick touches in the 1st quarter, and now the Chiefs in the 2nd quarter. A 2-play drive, then a 3-play touchdown drive.
I mean, how many plays, Jim, to start this game have just...
It's been wild.
It's been wild.
Butker, this is going to be returned by Carter. Going to take it at the goal line. Ball's out, and it's picked up in the air. It's picked up in the air and run all the way back by Darwin Thompson inside the 10. Unbelievable. How many plays you said have been wild? Add another one seconds later.
Oh, my goodness. Carter brings this out, and then pop, ball comes out.
It was Sorensen again, I believe. Sorensen, who was able to kill the fake punt. There he is.
Just an unbelievable sequence of what's just happening here.
Incredible.
It reminds me of like Rocky when it's like, what's he doing? He's getting punched in the face. He's like, no, he's getting mad. And all of a sudden he wakes up, and that's what the Chiefs have done. They just woke up, and they're right here back in this, and we got ourselves a slugfest that's about to happen the rest of this game.
From the 6. Back to Kelsey, and ridden down this time by Lonnie Johnson. They went to that play a couple of times on the last series, one for the touchdown, and this time Johnson's able to bring him down, hold him to 2.
Yeah, and this is not quite as dominant Kansas City this year in the red zone, and a little bit just, you ran a lot of these plays last year and early in the year, and then teams have started to really, you have to run the ball. They're saying if you run it, you will possibly let you score, but throwing it's going to be difficult.
2nd and goal. Here's the toss. Williams, Cunningham is there, and he loses 2. The momentum in this game really changed, Tony, when Houston went for the field goal on 4th and a foot.
Exactly right. And then they go for it on 4th and 3 from their own
side of the field, side of the 50. But the big kick return followed the field goal, and Kansas City trying to strike again here in the 2nd quarter.
Well, this is where you thought coming in Kansas City had the advantage. You know, 3rd down, they're the #1 team, and
Houston's worst in the league on stopping 3rd down. It's 3rd and goal. Mahomes to Kelsey, and another touchdown for Kansas City.
Well, we talked early in this football game. Mahomes rolls out, feels the pressure, and then fires it back shoulder again to Kelsey, who does the matchup one-on-one. He's going to continue to make these guys feel like they're stopped, come back in, and then turn and get in the end zone. And remember that mental part we talked about, how when you're the heavy favorite, it's hard to just do simple things because you feel like you have to, you're supposed to. Well, guess what? Houston's feeling that now, and it's going the other way.
3 touchdowns in 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Back in 30 seconds after this from Progressive Insurance. Well, at one point, we were trying to draw on some history of gigantic leads and comebacks. And we were going to bring up Fouts and the Chargers back in the '81 divisional game at Miami. It's one of the great games in playoff history. And down 24-0 at Miami, and Fouts of the Chargers had a hook and lateral and came back, took the lead, eventually won in overtime. But that played out over the course of several quarters. This has suddenly seen a 24-point lead squandered down to 3 in just a matter of 3.5 minutes.
I mean, it's just, you just don't see this. This is not basketball. I mean, you don't.
You sure?
It's starting to look like it. Something crazy is about to happen. Let's see.
That's a pretty safe bet on just about every other play. Next Sunday, don't miss the AFC Championship presented by Intuit TurboTax right here on CBS. Will it be here in Kansas City, or will it be in Houston? That to be decided here at Arrowhead today. Watson and Mahomes, 5 touchdown passes between them. And now Watson from the gun. Gets it to Hopkins, who spins around past the defender. And takes it to the 35. Ball came out, but he was ruled down. And it's Sorensen again with the football. He's making plays, but this one will not count. Gain of 9.
Well, Hopkins goes up, finds a soft spot in the zone, makes a miss. And he's down. Like the aggressive call coming out, though, right? You're now feeling the emotion of this game, and you can tell how important and just the nervousness that each side has had.
Watson keeps it. And he busts ahead and holds on to the football before, again, it's Sorensen on the tackle. Running behind Cullen Gillespie, the rookie fullback out of Texas A&M. 10-yard run by Watson.
And this is where they get you. Handing it here. This guy's motioning there. And Gillespie with a good block, and Sorensen delivers a little blow there.
Little jump pass to Hyde, and he's got close to another first down. Gonna mark him, it looks like maybe a foot short.
This is the evolution, of Deshaun Watson. His ability, he sees these safeties go back, these guys, and he's just gonna let the back go right here and find a soft spot. He's not even gonna read a whole bunch. He knows the weakness of the defense. He looks, and then he just fires it because he knows the defense. And when you do that and get it out of your hands, people get yards.
Generous spot. They gave him the first. Looked like it was at least a foot short. Hyde bottled up at the line. Hyde, again, who went through camp with the Chiefs but became expendable. They felt like they had enough to go with it. Running back, of course, McCoy joined them late. Thompson, the rookie, had impressed them. And Bill O'Brien knew Hyde from his days when he was coaching at Penn State. And Hyde had a big game, one game in particular against Penn State. It was an Ohio State running back, and it made an impression. 2nd and 10. Timeout, Houston, as the play clock was running down. That's the last timeout of the first half for Houston. And as I mentioned earlier, he and Watson and Matthew forged quite a friendship in the 1 year together last year in Houston. We got the Verizon halftime report coming up with JB and all the crew. And their take on the first half, this bizarre and exciting first half, coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Tyrann Mathieu, when he came here, this is a guy that Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, he had targeted to bring in. And he said, Tyrann, when he came here, the whole locker room changed the minute he walked in the door.
Well, this is where he is. He's done a great job in this game of playing with the quarterback. He's trying to show the quarterback, hey, I'm coming down. Hey, I'm going back. And now you call plays based on what he's doing.
Tossing it back to Watson, who's able to fall on it. Hopkins was going to be dropped for about a 4-yard loss, and then improvised. Similar kind of toss to a touchdown pass that Hopkins had made to Watson against the Patriots. I don't know that this was scripted this way.
It was not scripted. It was a simple little screen to the receiver, but that's what we talk about. Matthew's been playing that game over and over again, and he's starting to kind of get Houston to get into some different plays than they wanted to.
Houston fortunate to recover and survive to a 3rd and 12. Down the middle, dropped, Hopkins. Mathieu actually broke it up.
He breaks it up. I think he got away with a little bit of an early hit. But I tell you, the bang-bang play, they disguised it through a great throw. It's a great route. Can't tell from that angle, but it looked like he got there a second early. Still can't tell on that angle.
What do you see, Gene?
You know, in live action, it looked like early contact, but I haven't seen anything in replay. Closed on it real quick, but it did feel a little early, Jim.
So Houston brings back Brian Anger. No one back deep. Hardman now slips back from the line, runs back to make a play on it at the 10. Here's Hardman running laterally and out of bounds at the 10. .247 to go in the second quarter.
And guess what? The Chiefs have a chance to take the lead, and this is where the first touchdown and then the tackle on the fake punt Another touchdown. I can't even remember how many different touchdowns, what order they were in, and then the third touchdown. And right now, the Chiefs have a chance to take the lead before halftime. You definitely thought that after the first quarter, right? You're like, they'll have the ball to have a chance.
Well, how about this as far as what this team can do? From 90-plus yards away, they've scored touchdown on drives almost 50% of the time as they go deep. And there is a flag generated on Johnson, who's already been flagged once, and now a second time coming up.
Well, this is what we said early on. Early in this game, a couple drops. But if you're going to play man-to-man, which you have to, it's Kelsey who's the guy.
Pass interference. Defense number 32. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
You know, coming off the line, it's okay. It's right there. The hold as he does a little double move out and up. And this is the matchup where I was saying you have to play man, get your hands on everybody, and double team Tyreek Hill. But if Lonnie Johnson can't hold up against Kelsey, or if he gets hurt, you can't win because you should throw it at Kelsey on every play. You see the safety back deep in the middle of the field. There's only one guy. Everyone else is in man on their man.
Here's Mahomes' pass. Caught. Hill. Roby gets back on his feet and drags him down, but in a split second, they're already at the 45, and another 20 picked up here.
Well, like I said, man on the man and the man. And then guess what? Tyreek Hill, he's going to eventually win, and he does there. And this is just now Kansas City has figured out how to run routes versus the double team. Out-breaking routes are going to be the way to go for Tyreek Hill, and then just throw it to Kelsey.
One more play before the 2-minute warning. Houston trying to bring a blitz, but it is picked up, and Mahomes has a whole world in front of him. Inside the 40 and stepping out at the Houston 33. .21-yard scramble for Mahomes. And we're going to the 2-minute warning. Chiefs driving again. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Want more stats? Hey Siri, who leads the league in receiving yards?
The Chiefs' first 6 possessions, punt. And of course, a punt blocked and run back by Houston for a touchdown, but then 3 touchdowns in 7 plays, Tony.
Look at this. 3, 6, 3, 2, 3, 3. That's the number of plays.
Yeah.
They're definitely not going to be winning the time of possession battle. They've had the ball for 1.5 minutes in this game, and they have 21 points.
Romeo's defense trying to come up with some answers before halftime. Here's the reverse, and looking to pass off of it is Sammy Watkins. He got away from J.J. Watt, who's coming up behind him and chases him out. Back at the 39. They had Damian Williams going long off of this. That was going to be the guy they were going to try to connect with.
Mahomes wanted no part of helping block Watt right there. He's like, nope, not this guy.
A loss of 5.
Well, and this is important right now because Kansas City can get this ball. If they take this down and score, they get the ball after half.
Right, Houston
and
just took the ball at the top.
This is a really important sequence right here.
Here's Mahomes. He's on target at the 20. And Kelsey is feasting here in the second quarter on that Houston secondary. Johnson and Hargraves on the coverage.
Watch the double team. Hargraves outside. Inside right there is Johnson, and doesn't matter. They doubled Hill, doubled Kelsey, and they still couldn't defend him. That was the only other way I was thinking for Houston. All right, make someone else beat you. Double him. You have 2 guys you can double, basically. You can.
Gets away from J.J. Watt inside the 10 and out of bounds at the 5. A second big scramble on this drive that began back at the 10-yard line.
J.J. Watt's got the edge. You got to remember, it's only the second game back since week 8, and he just He's played so many snaps right now. That wind, it's not going to be back like it would be. And you could tell right there, I mean, the number of snaps he played last week.
52 out of 85. You got a 1st and goal to go. It's taken him 5 plays to travel 85 yards. And 5 yards away from taking the lead is improbable.
The clock is good. The clock is good. Thank you.
Okay, that's a great point. Did you hear him? The clock is good. The clock is good, everybody.
You were wondering, weren't you?
I was like, thanks. That's just wanted to make sure we're all comfortable with that. Oh, this is...
Trying to catch his breath. And
if I'm Kansas City, I just run the football right here. They're not that team, but they should just to waste one more time on the clock.
here's the pass, wide of the mark to Williams.
You eliminate Houston from having any chance. They have no timeouts. If you hand the ball off and score, great. If not, you take it down to the 3 or 2, and now you can literally run out the half no matter what. Houston has no chance to get the ball back.
Eric Bieniemy by the side of the head coach, the offensive coordinator, who's sending in the plays. And it's going to be 2nd and goal. Former star Colorado Buffalo running back.
So if you watch at the top of your screen, this guy's going to look where Tyreek Hill's going and help on him.
Here is Mahomes. He's got bodies on him. And again, Robinson, for the 2nd time at least in this game, cannot hold on. There was pressure. And now 50 seconds to go and a 3rd down snap coming.
Well, and you'll see all the crossing routes. Hill goes to the right. Safety takes off and goes over there.
Ominin was the one that was on Mahomes.
Hill's going to come this way. Safety's going to see him and take off with him. And this is why you're going to see other people get open a lot. If you're doing that, there's no one else to help all these crossers. They just need time in the pocket.
Here you go, Tony. 3rd and goal. Kelsey on a wing off the right side. Now move to the left. Here's Mahomes looking. Open field for a moment. He may have been past the line of scrimmage. It's called a touchdown. I tell you, this is going to be close, Gene Steratore. It's caught by Kelsey.
Well, this is going to be close. You're right, Jim. What a play, first off. I mean, it's like a no-look pass in basketball. Larry Bird, all of a sudden, just a tip pass right over here. And I tell you, this is big because your whole body has to be passed, not just the ball. It's back of his foot. Look at his left foot. That's what it's going to come down to. I think he's behind the line. It's not anything other than the whole body has to be passed.
Let's bring in Gene. Gene?
You're exactly right, Tony, and I think it's that left foot right when Patrick Mahomes releases the ball.
Under further review.
So again, the line of scrimmage was the 5.
Oh,
Leave the hand. It is inches.
it's closer than inches, Jim. Make a call. We'll tell you when we come
He's going
back.
to stand. The call is confirmed. Mahomes with his 4th touchdown pass of the quarter. He ties Washington's Doug Williams from Super Bowl 22 as the only players with 4 touchdown passes in 1 quarter in a postseason game. They have come all the way back from 24 down and taken the lead in the last minute of the 2nd quarter. And Butker makes it 28-24. Gene Steratore was close, but Mahomes pulled it off. I don't think there's any doubt.
I agree with you, Jimmy. You know, and we were fortunate to have the 5-yard line as a line of demarcation, too, so we have a solid line. And just as Patrick Mahomes releases that football, that left foot just is at the 5-yard line, and I think it's a good ruling as stands.
And this rule, just so people know, it's not if his foot's off the ground. It's a plane, so it's like he has to be past it. He could be jumping 5 feet up in the air. Some part of it has to be, his body has to be behind that 5-yard line when that ball is released.
Yep, right there. You can see his left foot was in the middle, if you will, of the 5-yard line stripe.
And you know, it's one of those calls, too, where if they called that on the field, that he was past the line, they probably would have kept it. And if they call it,
it's a difficult play to overturn because we don't have a really tight angle on the play. But I do like the call. I like the call as a good forward pass.
So Kelsey has his 3rd touchdown catch of the quarter.
I mean, he's already got, you're going to play man-to-man, Jim. That's the guy. Everyone talks about Hill. He's the home run threat. Kelsey's the one who just keeps hitting you for the big play to extend the 3rd down, the touchdown.
Butker Keeps it on the ground. Gillespie falls on it. And the rookie is tumbled at the 23 by Fenton. What do you think Houston's going to do here with no timeouts in 38 seconds?
Well, I tell you right now, normally 28-24, you're down 4 points. You see how many points already. I think right now I would be aggressive. I just think the momentum of this whole thing, you want your team feeling something going in that you can come back and figure this out. You know, if you'd say, hey, we're down 4, it's 14-10, we'll take a knee and we'll head on in. Nah, you're going right now. No timeouts. You need one play.
Watch Fuller at the top, the speedster. Breland on him. Watson heaves it. Hopkins has it at the Kansas City 40. And now the run ahead with the clock moving.
Look at the protection. And then Hopkins, see how there's no safety over there? He was guarding Fuller because they thought Fuller was the big play threat there. Oh, look at that. Hopkins is one-on-one, and what a throw and catch. And right there, that significantly changes many things. Just for, even if they don't get points, you start to feel like, okay, we're okay, guys. Coach is going to walk in and say, we knew this was going to be a full game, 4-quarter game.
It was a 38-yard reception by Hopkins. Spiking it at 19 was Watson. Sack would be a killer for Houston. Watson somehow gets free and throws it past the line of scrimmage in the direction of Johnson. He had Frank Clark on him. Passanio looks back and has an exchange. They got 11 seconds.
It's a great pass rush by Clark. And he almost has Watson, but he does. I mean, the half's over.
Yep.
If that sack.
Got him down.
They're not even going to get back and get a snap off. And right here, you're trying to get a field goal attempt. Most likely you got to get inside the 35. 32-yard line is probably the yard line in these conditions to have a realistic chance. Right here, I still don't think you're able to get that ball to the goalpost.
Watson. He's better look for a sideline. And he's going to set up Fairbairn from about 52 yards. Jay Feely, you watched warm-ups, and what was the range you saw going in this direction?
Yeah, Jim, in this direction, neither kicker made a field goal over 50 yards. In fact, in the history of Arrowhead in the playoffs, there's never been an attempt over 50 yards. This will be the first one. The ball wasn't traveling well this way, although Fairbairn's long for his career is 54 yards.
Okay.
So it's never happened. No one's ever attempted it. It's his longest of his career. How do you feel about that, Jim?
It's going to be 51 yards. Fairbairn's kick, and it is going sideways right. What did you see there, Jay?
Well, he's trying to hit it hard. He knew that in warm-ups he didn't make them, so you're trying to swing extra hard. He kind of chunks it, and you see the ball fade right.
Well, I tell you, even though they missed that, they at least have that feeling, and you know what Kansas City feels after that incredible second-quarter comeback.
How about an incredible first half overall? A track meet here in Kansas City, Missouri. 28-24 Chiefs at halftime. Halftime coming up after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. America's Game welcomes two global superstars taking the biggest stage of all, the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show starring Jennifer Lopez and Shakira. Tune in on February 2nd. (28-24) again, the highest scoring first half in postseason history. That's what we've seen. And by the way, all 32 NFL teams choose a local area flag team to represent them at the NFL Flag Championships in Orlando during Pro Bowl week. And this year, the Chiefs selected the Chiefs Wild Hawks, a 13 to 14-year-old boys team from Lawrence, Kansas. And earlier this week, the team was treated to a special tour of the Chiefs facility. And then today, they joined Chiefs players on the sideline during warm-ups. What a cool experience for these kids, and best of luck to them at the NFL Flag Championships at the Pro Bowl. You can find an NFL Flag League near you by visiting NFLflag.com. Felt almost like a flag football game in the first half. They were saying in the studio, it was like the Warriors and the, it's fast break offense and everything else.
It literally just, Kansas City's never out of a game because they're so explosive. And there's only so many answers. So it's like once they kind of figure you out, they can attack you. Now, if you told Houston you're down 4 at halftime on the road at Kansas City, they would love that. They just need to mentally reset. And we talked about it, the emotions of this game. It's so important. The players know it, they feel it. And Kansas City, when you're such a favorite, it's almost a tougher spot to be in. And that's, you slept on the lead, right? Like you're supposed to win. You're almost like have a little anxiety with it. Whereas the other team's coming in free. They're freed up to lose. You're supposed to, right? That's a way better way, to play in a game or any sporting event. And then all of a sudden, Kansas City gets behind by 24, and now they're freed up. They're supposed to lose. So now they can reset and now go play football and see what team goes to the AFC Championship.
The team that will host Tennessee next week, the winner of this one. Fairbairn and the Texans boot it down to the 3-yard line. Hartman, Taiwan Jones, great special teams player in his career, has contributed offensively the last couple of games, makes the tackle the 14. Tracy, what did you learn at halftime?
Well, Jim, you guys talked about it, how the Texans need to mentally reset. Well, I spoke with Bill O'Brien coming out of the halftime, and what he told me basically is it's just been a wild game, and they need to start over, especially with this drive. But the bigger issue right now is the health of DeAndre Hopkins. We saw him get hurt at the end of the half. He has a rib injury. He is getting x-rays right now, Jim.
Wow, so Hopkins, that doesn't sound good, as Mahomes again able to toss it quickly. Nice piece of running after the catch by Yelder, the backup tight end. Let's see that injury at the end of the first half, and instantly holding the lower left rib cage area after the 38-yard catch.
Well, what's happening then is you go get the x-rays, and usually it's going to be a very painful second half. You might give him something, if you can find the area, and hopefully he can come back and play. And that's a huge. How about Tracy having to dodge the players and Bill O'Brien helping her out?
Yeah, he was there too.
High five, but get out of the way.
Scarlett trying to chase down Williams, who prevents what could have been a 6-7 yard loss, gets back to the line of scrimmage.
So in the second half, if you're.
Here comes Hopkins.
And that's, with the ribs, you could tell, there's, depending upon where it is, you can play through it. You put something around, usually your waist, you'll have some sort of flap jacket, and then they can possibly, just set you up so that way you can go out there and feel at least comfortable enough to play.
2nd and 10. No Kelsey in for this snap. Houston looked to jump. Free play perhaps for the Chiefs. And it's Sammy Watkins running around in that secondary and still breaking free. .48 yards to Sammy Watkins.
Wow, and this is just an offside.
Offside. Defense number 59. This penalty's declined. The play results in a first down.
You see 59 come, look at the eyes, they're left. He's like, everyone, look, I'm going left. And now all of a sudden he's gonna flip and fire this ball with his eyes. And no one's over there. I mean, if you're Reed, how are you supposed to think he's throwing it way over there? He's staring left the entire time. And then he comes back, and Sammy Watkins with a big play.
Again, Kelsey is not on the field. They've got both Yelder and Blake Bell, the backups, in 2 tight ends.
It's because they're running the football.
Sean McCoy going up top. And running with it is Mahomes. He scrambles again down to about the 10. He's got now, the team outside of Mahomes has 1 yard rushing. He has 51 on all these runs out of the pocket.
Well, what happens is you take Kelsey out, automatically assume run. And of course they do run with Patrick Mahomes. But what happens there is it's a design play for one guy. He dropped that right.
Yeah, it was a little close before he got out, but
as long as it goes out of bounds.
it is out, and it is down to the 12-yard line.
But that was a design play. You rest Kelsey on plays. You're like, we're throwing the ball. They tried to play. They scored the touchdown onto the running back.
He had not been in on this entire series till this play, and it's a toss to Hill, and he's at the 8. There they had Yelder catch a ball, and for whatever reason, Kelsey coming off that second quarter, by the way, all these records that are being set here today, his 3 catches in a quarter is an NFL postseason record.
A simple screen play, a simple tackle by the offensive lineman. And no one runs the screen game. I mean, a lot of teams are really well, but Andy Reid is phenomenal in the screen game and uses it every week.
I did not actually, in the end, see Kelsey in on that last play. He's out for this one too. 2nd and 6.
Starting to think there's something else going on.
Could be, as Mahomes is going to run out of the pocket. McKinney trying to get there in time. And Justin Reed cuts the angle, but not until Mahomes sets up 1st and goal from about the 1.
Well, and I actually give Mahomes credit at the end here. When a lot of guys want to reach out and try and get that ball across and it can be fumbled, it's really smart not to put it in that left hand. Keep it in your right hand. You have 1st and goal. It's a smart play. And I think Kelsey hasn't been out there, Jim.
No, the entire
it's not about plays.
Something's up.
Yep.
Here's a 1st and goal. Williams drives it in for the touchdown.
We talked about it earlier. They weren't great this year in the red zone a little bit. Teams have figured out how to defend all these crossers, but you know what? Just run the football. They have to defend all these great players. You can just run it straight at them, and there's always a little gap.
We'll check the penalty markers. There's 3 of them down on the field right now. Running right at Brandon Dunn.
From a yard or two, I mean, every team in the league is like sending 8 people right there, and the Texans are like, wait, they ran it?
Gene, do you see a taunting or something here when he puts the ball down at the end?
If he does direct that ball and dropping toward his opponent, that's what they're discussing,
that's
and
what
they'll
he
call
did.
that unsporting and a taunting foul.
Or are they calling it on Dunn for throwing it at him? The defensive tackle for Houston.
No, they would get the first one, Tone. So if he's looking at Dunn and drops that ball, they'll call that on the offense.
As they should if it's a taunting.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, offense number 26. This is a foul where 2 of this type requires disqualification. Houston has chosen to enforce that foul on the kickoff. It's a touchdown.
So Williams scored, and he came back around and just dropped the football down in front of the man trying to tackle him.
That's taunting, 100% right there. It's a good call.
But with this touchdown drive that took, Tony, about 3.5 minutes, that is now 5 touchdowns put up by Kansas City in a little more than 12 minutes of game clock. 5 touchdowns. Of course, the 4 we saw in the second quarter, this is the second time this year we've seen that, Tony. If you remember week 2 at Oakland.
Exactly right.
They had the 28-point second quarter against the Raiders week 2. Butker's extra point is no good.
Wow. The try is unsuccessful.
Snap got a little outside for Colquitt. .34 unanswered by the Chiefs to lead by 10. Now off the taunting penalty, they'll be kicking from the 20 as the Texans await the football for the first time in the second half.
And how about that call, though? Bill O'Brien there could have taken the penalty on the extra point. They missed the extra point, and now they get the extra yardage here, so it works out in their favor in both counts.
A good decision. Carter, he's back at around the 7, waiting for the Butker kick. One of the biggest legs in the game. And he shows it off here.
Wow.
Back to the goal line. From the 20 to the goal line. Carter is twisted down. Oh, Daniel got to him first, and then he was finished off by Pringle. And let's go down to Tracy with a report on Travis Kelce and where he was.
He was in the locker room, guys. He did not come out for the start of this second half. He actually went into the locker room early on that touchdown drive to end the half. He actually got hurt. He was limping. It is a hamstring injury. I was told he's questionable to return. He spoke with Andy Reid. I was told right now it is a maybe, but he is high-fiving these guys. He wants to get back out there, guys.
Okay, Tracy. Hopkins, by the way, is on the field for this first snap after being treated with that rib injury at halftime. He's in the slot to the left. Flag at the line as Watson dances around. He can extend the play with the best of them, and he goes out after a gain of about 8. We'll check the marker.
Now this is going to be just not enough men on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards back on Houston.
Illegal formation. Offense, number 77 is uncovered. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
What a blow, Tony, to the whole system. It's got to be for every player on this team when you lead by that much on the road and all of a sudden you're down 10 as you see Kelsey talking to Reid.
Well, we'll come back to it. He's trying to tell him, I'm good, I can go. You're good? Hamstring. You sure your hamstring's good? We got next week, maybe. Sure? I'm good, coach. I'm good. I don't know, Travis.
They gave him that look, didn't he? I don't know.
I think he's trying to talk him into playing, and he's going to see how the game plays out because it's a long way from over.
Yeah, but they may not need him. So here's right. 1st and 15. A completion out to the 30. Can Watson find a way to rally his team for the second straight week? It's going to take an awful lot here on the road, plus with the way the Chiefs have been unstoppable since the start of the second quarter.
Well, I mean, they've 5 touchdowns in a row for the Chiefs in the last 3 possessions for Houston. 8 yards, punt, missed field goal. But a lot of that's just the fact the other team is scoring every time they touch the ball, a touchdown.
2nd and 6. And Hyde shuffling and falling after 1. Mike Pennell, who's seeing added time with Chris Jones down today.
And he does an excellent job there, getting him into the passing down. And now the key is going to be watching 32, Matthew. They use him a lot of different ways. This crowd's going to be loud, and they're going to try and fake. Is it a pressure, or are they faking it and then dropping out? But 32 is the guy you're going to want to look to because the quarterback's looking for him, and he's right there. Does he go back, or does he come downhill?
Watson trying to get a chance to find someone fighting for his life, and he's going to be brought down. It's going to be a sack by Frank Clark. Second sack of the game for the Chiefs.
Well, just watch. Watson's looking, and Matthew makes him think, and he falls all the way to the left, and Watson sees it and tries to run around and make a play. And what an outstanding job by Frank Clark of continuing.
Well, you know, they don't normally put Tyreek Hill back unless they feel like they really need to try to do something borderline desperate like they did early in this game, and he fumbled. He's back again. Fair catch signal this time, and he holds on to it at the 23. Mahomes with 4 touchdowns, all coming in the second quarter, tying a postseason record. Leads him to a 10-point lead. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pepsi. That's what I like. Intuit TurboTax. And by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. I'm sure this is something that entire defensive staff has been quarreling with, but how do you try to change things up? Kansas City's just going down the field on you every time.
Well, what's happening is you have to have a plan for the first half and second half coming in. Against a coach like this and a quarterback like this, once they get a beat on you, they're too good. That would have been the first thing. Number 2, it's time to pressure and make Kelsey win quickly. He has a hamstring, right?
He's out there.
He's out there, but you got to pressure him now.
There's Mahomes getting set in the pocket, and look at Kelsey come right back onto the field. and beat this defense and free himself from about 3 defenders and take the pile, sore hamstring and all, down to about the 46.
You can't cover him. The idea is to make the quarterback, you see how long he had? Kelsey's gonna win if he gets that amount of time. Watch him run this route. Reed does a decent job. He just turns back in and now he's wide open and the ball comes. If you pressure the quarterback, he's got to throw that ball before then. Right now to rush 4 guys, no. Play man-to-man, do the same thing you're doing, but get the quarterback to throw the football earlier. Don't let Kelsey run the route.
Kelsey with 3 catches that have gone for more than 20 yards. Ominahu from Houston jumped. Kelsey sitting out this play.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 94. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Saturday, a college basketball doubleheader. 2 conference clashes. SEC and Pac-12 first. Auburn, undefeated, tries to take on the Florida Gators. Followed by 9th-ranked Oregon on the road at Washington. 2 scoops of hoop. That's what they call it. Saturday, 1:30 Eastern on CBS. So Kelsey,
can you do that again?
Penalty. Yeah, that's a long-time promo line at CBS. It's made it through the generations. It's good for once a year. Here's a handoff to Watkins. And Sammy Watkins to the 30. And again, chunks every single play for the Chiefs offense.
They got a beat on you. You're going to have to change. It's like I said, when Andy Reid gets a beat on what you're doing, same thing happened to Bill Belichick in the AFC title game. It's great. They came out, they're up 14-0 early in that game, and in the second half, they came storming back. It's just hard. They have so much talent and so much to their system. And
got another first down at the 30. 2 plays, 47 yards over those 2 plays.
Now watch him come up the middle there.
Sidearm pass. Robinson grabs it this time for a gain of about 4.
Now this is at least Houston now getting the ball out of the hands of Patrick Mahomes. Watch the middle. Someone needs to come. If someone's going to blitz here, at least then you're going to make Mahomes feel the pressure internally. And that ball then comes out, and you see this little sidearm. But then the big play has to happen by somebody else, not Mahomes standing in there and waiting for someone to get wide open down the field.
Houston needs something big to happen on its side as Watt comes in for this play. 2nd and 6. Mahomes in zone hunting. And over the head of Hill and Reed. And there is a flag at the 7-yard line.
Well, Roby was holding him. I swear he's holding like a towel. It looked like he was.
Pass interference. Defense number 21. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
Yeah, Bradley Roby, the former Bronco who was accustomed to seeing this Chiefs franchise twice a year.
And watch the top of your screen. Oh, it's a shirt. I was watching him run down the field, and I'm like, he's...
At what point do you let go?
The point at which they're trying to throw to him easily.
I mean... But
that's what I'm saying. No pressure there, right? So he has all day in the pocket, so he waits for this double move, and you have to guard Tyreek Hill and Kelsey forever. That needs to be the last time. You need 4 or 5 men rushing on each play with a pressure.
Here's a 1st and goal. Watt, and he took a lunge at him. Didn't get him. Mahomes. And that is deflected. Heading toward Hardman in the back of the end zone. As Kansas City is threatening to make this yet another quick strike touchdown drive that takes up little time and few plays.
This one, without the tip, might have actually been another touchdown.
Damian Williams got his hand on it.
But you see at least the internal pressure. Watt lined up over the center and came. You don't have to rush 6, 7 guys. But someone has to pressure and make it look like pressure. So there's 4 guys coming. There's 5. At least make it where the quarterback feels it.
2nd and goal. Here's a carry by Williams. And McKinney was there at the 4 to bang heads with him. And Zach Cunningham as well. But now 3rd down coming up. Need to hold them to 3 if you're the Texans.
3rd and goal from the 5-yard line.
This is an Andy Reid specialty situation right here.
Yes, it is.
You're going to see he's been waiting all week for this one right here.
You can feel it?
Yes, he's going to have something pretty cool up his sleeve on this.
He's got Kelsey to the right. Remember, 3 touchdowns already.
Little motion by Kelsey. Offsides on the defense. Whistle by the...
This guy's actually going against the Chiefs. First signal.
False
start. Offense, number 71.
Schwartz.
5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Does that take this unique play call out of the mix for you here, or are you sticking by it?
No, it does. And I think they were running a cool cross screen. Watch the back. You'll see 77 jump. It's a false start. But the back's going to come across the field, and you would have seen the little sneaky under all the way back across, I think.
So it marks it back at the 10, 3rd and goal.
Patrick looks up. It's not man, it's zone. Hey, everyone. Block 55. Here's our play.
Here goes Mahomes, looking left, looking down the middle, weaving out of the traffic. Chase throws it to the back of the end zone, and the Texans, oh, hold on, we got another marker down at the 4-yard line.
Well, the problem is going to be 32's holding Kelsey the whole time, and they intelligently double-teamed Kelsey, and he was the guy they were looking to go to, but watch right here. That's a straight double team the whole time, and they're just holding him. When you have a double team, do you need to hold him? I mean...
Before the pass was thrown, holding. Defense, number 41. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
3rd defensive penalty on this series. And now the Chiefs will get to go 1st and goal from the 5.
What a game Kelsey's had. Just wrecked it completely after that start. He had that one drop, and then
right at the start of the game, dropped it on 3rd down on the first series, and then after that,
he's just been a game wrecker for Houston.
9 catches, 111, and 3 touchdowns. Sits out this one. 1st and goal, Williams. He's in. Touchdown, Kansas City.
So we were talking, what should they do in the red zone? Everyone has to come up with all their cool coverages. Just run it right at them so hard, and makes it look easy. It's like no one's defending the run because they don't do it that often.
Williams' 2nd rushing touchdown. He caught another one, so 3 on the game. And Kansas City, which, as you pointed out, had struggled this year in the red zone, unlike a year ago, 6 for 6 today in the red zone.
And that's how many possessions in a row now with a touchdown?
That would be only 6. 6 straight touchdown drives.
Give Andy Reid credit for just getting in the playoffs and now bringing back the run right up the middle. Just simple right and something you're not really prepared for. And offensive genius showing it today.
Boy, did they flip the script as dramatically as you'll ever see. Early frustrations that were being felt.
That was the first half.
And now
here's the second half.
It's amazing what winning can do.
And that shirt right there was borrowed out of Andy Reid's closet. He said, Andy, I'm bringing it out when I feel comfortable.
A little beach wear on a 35-degree day in Kansas City that has seen a 41-point spree by the Chiefs.
It's incredible. And Deshaun Watson is 15 for 21 for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he's playing a good football game. He has 24 points midway through the 3rd quarter, and it feels like it's almost insurmountable.
It does.
Remember this moment, Jim?
Mahomes telling him 1 play at a time. Let's get back into this thing. That was at 24 points down. He implored his teammates, and then he just went crazy in the 2nd quarter, as did the Chiefs. And Damian Williams, his last playoff game, that loss to the Patriots, he had 3 touchdowns against New England. He's got 3 in this one.
How many points was Deshaun Watson down last week?
They're down 16.
They're down 17. He's done a lot of great things in his career. This would be at the top of the list.
There's Hopkins, and he falls at the 46.
You know, talking to him.
Look at Hopkins. You know, he's got that rib injury, so smartly here, he doesn't want to take a hit, you got to think. It says, let me just
100%.
know where to go, right?
Oh, man, playing with broken ribs is no fun. Anytime you don't take the hit, you feel like you won that play.
So a good gain for Houston to start this drive. Now from the 46. Passanio coming after him. One cheap blocked another, and over the head of Hyde. Boy, that wasn't supposed to happen. They may have had him, but the Kansas City defenders collided with one another.
Well, they took a shot deep, and they've been guarding Will Fuller on the deep routes today.
First team to score touchdowns on 6 straight drives since the Packers did it in 2007. Divisional game.
That was the Brett Favre Packers. They lost to the Giants, who ended up beating the Patriots in the 07.
2nd and 10. Good cut by Stills. Dives ahead for a first down.
This is what I like. Let Fuller keep taking the top off. If they're going to cover him with 2 guys going deep, get these other guys underneath him. Like, use that to your advantage. And you know, he's going to be wore out at the end of the day because he's going to keep running deep.
Yeah.
But you can throw to these guys right underneath, and it's available. It's there.
Fuller, who had been limited most of the week in practice with a groin injury, missed week 17, missed the wild card game, and there he is in a slot to the left. Got 2 catches for 15 yards today. Hyde slips out of a tackle, almost lost the football. Pulled it back into the 39, gain of 4. He got away from Suggs.
And we know at 17 out, you know, we do this every week. And I tell you, I'm not a math major, but I can tell it's a 3-possession game at least, right?
Hey, sound like
Pretty
a math
close.
major to me.
Okay. Well, I think they got to get some points in this drive to go down 17 and really shorten this game, especially with the other side. Even if you stopped them, to score 3 times in the next quarter would be very difficult. So at least 3 on this drive.
Here's Watson directing traffic and loading it up and going long and throwing it away to Fuller. That was Fuller on Fuller. Kendall Fuller defending on Will of Houston.
They're trying to come up with these play action plays way down the field. It's just Kansas City's prepared for that. They're up 17. They're like, take your time, but you're not getting a home run. I think this is 4-down territory right here, Jim.
You got to think.
It's too long for a field goal.
It's already down to 2.5 minutes to go in the 3rd.
And you tell your quarterback you got 2 plays. Don't force it here. Steve Spagnuolo, nobody's back deep. You see back here in the middle, nobody, no safety. They want him to think everyone's coming here, and they are.
Here comes Clark. He steps away from him. Watson, sideline, and Hopkins got the feet down for the catch in the 1st at the 30. Great job working that sideline.
Hopkins does an incredible job. You don't know who's coming. They pressure with 4 guys, but you don't know who's coming. And then Hopkins gets those feet down and keeps control of that ball. That's an outstanding catch.
Hopkins now 98 yards in the game on 8 receptions.
Really good patience by him and Deshaun, because like all these people are up there, they're pressuring, but they're only sending 4 or 5, but it's still pressure. You just don't know which ones are coming. You got to be calm and wait it out.
They go to Stills. Fenton on him. Stills throws at the last moment to Watson. Are they going to rule him down? They're going to rule him down back at the 44.
Before the Packers throw him, it's 2nd down.
They ruled him down?
They did.
I think this is the right call. It looks to me like he had a knee, and they're trying to take a shot. Let's see, right? Yep.
And that's Rashad Fenton, the rookie out of South Carolina, who gets this play to go for a loss of 14. Puts Houston in a big jam. 2nd and 24. Down the sideline, and it is caught. That's Fuller down to the 5. He got away from Fenton, who had just made the tackle for loss.
I can't believe, outside up top, it's Ward, I believe, guarding him there.
And then Fenton comes
over as the safety, like you said, and the fact that he kind of stopped, Ward did. This is Fuller, the one guy we talked about, is going deep all the time, over and over again.
39 yards to Fuller.
Gives them a little bit of life right there.
Yep, 1st and goal at the 5. Run to the short side. Watson, Hyde in front. He jumps over and in for the touchdown. That was a good block, too, by Stills on that side, as well as Hyde. Well, they led the convoy to the end zone for the 5-yard touchdown.
Yeah, and he's making sure that he didn't fumble this out before. I mean, it's a touchdown. It's a great design play, but right there, and that ball comes out.
Oh, that is close.
I think he gets past first.
Touchdown.
Before... Let's bring Gene in. Go ahead, Gene. Take this one.
We
Thanks,
brought you
guys.
here for a reason.
You know what? All he has to do is maintain possession when that ball breaks the plane inside the pylon or over the pylon. And I think he does. It's really close, but right there, I think there's enough possession when it breaks the goal line, and I think touchdown's the right call.
Boy, it was. It was moving a little bit.
It was moving a
just
little.
after it, I believe.
I think it's going to be... Can't overturn that one too hard. Even if it was closer. I'm going touchdown.
Yeah. Touchdown confirmed, Gene. You're undefeated today.
You get to keep your job, Gene.
Thanks,
Bring you back next week.
He just told me I am every day. Okay. 5 years ago, by the way, Tony, from the Des Catch game that Gene officiated up in Green Bay.
That's a great memory.
5 years ago. Yeah, I thought you might appreciate that.
Thanks, Jim.
Houston.
Go to break so I can be very upset. See you when we get back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Doolittle, starring Robert Downey Jr. in theaters January 17th. And by KFC, it's finger licking good.
Tasty, Jim. Very tasty.
So is this game.
Look at this. We're looking over here. They got the game stats on the side. We have them here, but on the side in the stadium over here, 233 yards passing for each team. 79 rushing for one team, 87 for the other. One turnover. Everything's basically even. It's just a play or two on a...
Here's Hardman. Got out to about the 28-29. Yeah, there have been some of these little plays that have changed the tide in a hurry. By the way, the night before Super Bowl 54, the NFL's brightest stars come together to salute the best players, the best plays, the best moments from this 100th season of the NFL. Tune into NFL Honors, hosted by Steve Harvey, Saturday, February 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Now, you're Houston, you're Bill O'Brien. You got to, again, can the defense do something? Or even, not only a stop, could it possibly force a turnover or something to really get back into this game going into the fourth? Mahomes, though, well protected. I mean, all kinds of time. And there's Kelsey. And then you give him that much time. You pointed it out already. Kelsey's going to beat you with Mahomes every time. He got away from Lonnie Johnson for another 23.
If he gets to be man-to-man and the quarterback gets time, you will not stop Kansas City. You need to pressure.
It's the end of 3 in KC. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Jay Feely, Gene Steratore here at Arrowhead as we begin the final 15 minutes. 41-31, Kansas City. And look at the numbers for Kelsey. 10 catches, 134 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Here's the jet sweep. Hardman for another 13. What we saw, Houston out 24-0 minutes into the second quarter, and then a 41-point unanswered streak by the Chiefs. Texans had just scored on their last possession to trim it back down to 10, and Mahomes, that second quarter, sensational. The best team all year in the league in the second quarter, and they showed that again tonight. Here's a first down from the Houston 36.
It's just basically when they figure out what you're doing, they're just, really hard to guard. They're better than most people. Like each guy individually is just really hard.
It's like Houston jumped, pass pulled down. Sammy Watkins inside the 10.
So we finally get a zone defense.
Offside. defense number 98. This penalty's declined. The play results in a first down.
Well, before the game, we said you can't play zone. So you'll see just verticals, and when you play zone, these guys inside, just watch. They just run right through you. And Mahomes just launches it to somebody, and they have so much speed. You have to play man, we said that. But you got to pressure to make it get out of his hand, someone win quickly.
Perfect in the red zone. 6 for 6. Mahomes with a touchdown pass to Blake Bell. He didn't have one all season, but he's got one in the divisional round.
Just an unbelievable design. Watch 27's eyes right here. He's guarding 81. And if you look right there, Adams has him, and Bell just tricks him. He looked into the backfield. That's your guy thinking he was going to block. See how he was in his stance? And he's wide open.
Blake Bell out of Oklahoma with the touchdown. Mahomes now with 5 scoring passes, and Butker adds another point. Mahomes celebrating as this offense is in high gear now. Has been since the second quarter. Seen a victory shower in the middle of a game, Tony?
I tell you right now, if you look at Fisher on the left, watch the little beverage, and he's like, yes, my best Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonation, and that's true offensive lineman. Tonight, he was getting started a little early, I think. Still got a little bit more to go there, Fish.
I was going to call a hotline to see if you can do that, but I guess you can.
You can.
You remember at the start of this game, the drop by Kelsey on the first third down. Their second attempt at a third down, Robinson dropped it, so they had to punt both times. Since that time, they faced third down only 3 times in the game, and they put up 48 points. Wow. That's how unstoppable they are. Here are some of the headlines on the NFC side. The 49ers yesterday dominate the Vikings, holding them to 7 first downs. Of course, the Titans last night on the AFC side, it was all Derrick Henry, Tannehill, and that bunch, that defense of Dean Pease. Mike Vrabel, he's got his team going so strong right now. And of course, Seattle and Green Bay are coming up later today, next on Fox, don't miss it. And next Sunday, the NFC Championship presented by Intuit TurboTax. Levi Stadium will be hosting next week's NFC title game. The winner of this one today coming up next. Here's a little pass over to Thomas, and he's got the grab for a short gain.
You got to protect Kansas City, the end zone. Another shot play right there. 2 receivers going deep. Ends up being a check down. And if you're Houston, it's definitely time, almost 2-minute time, I would argue. You need to be on the ball pretty much on every play from this point, being a 3-score game.
Watson down the middle of the field. Perfect pass to Hopkins, who's hit by Breeland. Puts Hopkins over 100 for the game. Puts Watson at 282, and he took a little lick there, so he's going to come out.
I mean, he's playing with, obviously, ribs that are very uncomfortable. For him to play the way he's playing today is really impressive. And I mean, they've scored 31 points, Jim. It's just they haven't stopped them. It's really that simple.
Do you know they scored more than 30 points only twice during the regular season, and one of them was here against Kansas City in the win 31-24.
We knew when they're healthy that they're really, like with all the receivers and everyone, they're tough to stop. But obviously Kansas City has monster firepower.
Hyde, and that's Matthew throwing him down. Those 2 players who were wearing the other team's uniform last year. Hyde, well, actually, Hyde didn't join them until the offseason in Kansas City, played the preseason for the Chiefs, jettisoned him in the trade to Houston, and Matthew gets that 3-year, $42 million contract to sign with the Chiefs. Hopkins 1 play out and back in. Double coverage down here on Hopkins, and it is dropped. Matthew had it.
And that would have officially, I think, I never go officially, but that would have made this almost insurmountable. Matthew right at this has the ball coming right down, and one of his easier interceptions he'll have.
They don't get any easier than that.
And I think what happens is you start thinking about possibly the out of bounds. And I think he was trying to think about that a little bit too much.
You're right. 3rd and 4 from the Kansas City 42. Carter, one of the receivers in for Houston. Hopkins. Pass tip and incomplete. Off the hands of Stills, and of course Houston will have to go for it.
Just a little high there for Watson, and Bill O'Brien setting up the punting unit.
Gotta go for it, and they're not. Okay. What do you think with 11:45 to go, down 17?
You go for this. Yep. Look at.
I mean, Watson made an appeal to the coach.
He's telling him right now. He might take a timeout because he knows he's going for it.
Yeah, timeout called by the Texans. All right, let's go down during this timeout to the sideline. Back to you, Trace.
Well, I spoke to Bill O'Brien coming out of the half, and he actually told me they came into this game not wanting to punt to them at all. So not surprising that they went for it on the 4th down, or they did a trick play. So don't be surprised if you see something here, guys.
Well, we're going to see the offense come back onto the field. Watson made an appeal, and O'Brien took note of it, called the timeout. They're going to go for it.
Well, you haven't stopped them yet. You're going to need something to go your way with, like a fumble. You know, obviously, if they had answers, they would have used them at this point. Steve Spagnuolo right here. It's an interesting thing because you're like, we can go win the game almost with this right here. But if you come after them, you're one-on-one on the outside. I would pretend like we're pressuring and bail everyone out to make the clock continue to run and make them work. Put everyone up there. Only rush 3 or 4 guys.
They're rushing 3 with a spy. Watson off his back foot. Way over the head of his target, Hopkins.
The funny part there is you gain way more yards if you drop that. And so even though Fenton doesn't catch it, it's better for Kansas City yardage-wise, and really just throw that's a little behind and high.
And Watson was rushed on the throw.
Yes.
So Kansas City takes over on downs with 11.5 to go. So the Chiefs 7 straight touchdown drives, which is an NFL postseason record since the records in the merger of 1970 have been kept and beyond. So in 50 years, nobody's ever been that dominant in a streak of 7 straight possessions. Bell, who caught the last touchdown, has another catch here.
Kelsey should, this is where I'd start thinking about him. Go ahead and take us through 60 minutes.
Well, you want to do it? You got it. Tonight, 60 minutes. 2 performers at the top of their games. You love Joaquin Phoenix, right? All right, he's going to be profiled. Tennis's number 1.
Rafael Nadal.
Only on 60 minutes.
That was cute.
That's called a Romo promo. I like it. You got to do more of those.
I'm out.
Take that away from me.
All right, Jim.
3rd and 2nd and 4. There is Williams. Untouched till he went out of bounds. Still wasn't touched.
Yeah, just a good call, just running the ball. And look at what they've done today, Jim.
Well, you started out, Tony, by talking about how these two, we're going to see them for years. The two of the young stars in this league. And you look at Watson's numbers, they're great. Plus, he rushed for a touchdown. Then you got Mahomes, who threw for 5. And also rushed for another 56. Leads the team in rushing.
It's just, the league it's great for the league. A lot of young quarterbacks with a lot of talent. These two are right near the top of any of them, obviously.
Yep. Williams, again, he hasn't been touched until he gets to the 12. Running behind Eric Fisher.
Well, Fisher's got that juice that he gained on the celebration earlier. And you'll see 72 pulling out front, and then Williams does the rest and just runs to the side.
This Houston defense has just got to be exhausted. They've just been shredded and have no answers for anything that Kansas City presents. 26 yards on this carry for number 26. Could Mahomes throw for a sixth? Now they're going to hand it off to Hill. And Cunningham shoves him out at the 10. Driving for what would be an 8th consecutive touchdown drive.
Is there a record of straight touchdown drives in a game?
Well, they've got the postseason record already. Already today.
In a game ever, is there a record? Has anyone scored on every possession a touchdown? Sure, someone has.
Somewhere along the line of the regular season. I thought you would know that. You must have done that somewhere. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
From the 10, 2nd and 4. Or 2nd and 6.
Now they're going to come after him here, and he's going to get rid of this quickly.
Ball's batted in the air. J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt probably saves a touchdown there.
Remember J.J. visiting with us yesterday, talking about how Mahomes, he's got this fade kind of move, and he's got the arm strength that even if you're chasing after him, you can figure out ways to create windows and alleys.
And he's right. It's rare. When you come after quarterbacks, usually you get a hit on him. He just drifts back. Mahomes just drifts back and then slings that arm, the little wrist snap, and all of a sudden, nope, there's 30 yards. And not everybody can do that.
J.J., whose rookie year, he was part of that team that took the franchise to the playoffs for the first time. Set up screen to Williams. In traffic, Williams. And he is going to be stopped. They actually get to a 4th down. 2 yards short. And they bring out Butker.
He was trying. Mahomes was trying to tell Andy Reid, we want to go for this. Andy Reid says, I am the coach. But thank you for trying. Oh, yeah, I got you. I tried.
Clock still running inside 8.5. Butker to try to make it 51. From just 24 yards away. The leading scorer in the NFL this year. He set a franchise record with 147 points. He puts up 3 more. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon, the network more people rely on. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Ram Trucks, Motor Trend's back-to-back Truck of the Year. What do you think, Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans, Dean Pease, their deep coordinator of the team, are thinking watching this game after their 2 great road victories? They're going to be in the AFC Championship game next week.
Well, think about, for Tennessee to go to the Super Bowl, all they had to do was go into New England, be the first team in however long to beat them there, then go into Baltimore, a team that was just dominating for the last 12 games, and then come here into Kansas City, who just scored 51 at least, most likely. I mean, there isn't a tougher thing, ever to get to the Super Bowl.
The NFL in its 100th year, remembering some of the highlights. How about the last time they met in the postseason? Tennessee here at Arrowhead. Marcus Mariota had a big game, even caught a pass, as you saw. Derrick Henry had another one of his monster games, and they came back from being down in that game. Won at 22-21 in the wild card round. Kansas City blew this year.
These are 2 very different teams now, though. These teams are very, very good and very different.
Almost intercepted by Matthew. You made this point about what the path is for Tennessee. I'll give you one more, Tony. And people will be writing about it this week. Week 17, they went into Houston. Yes, Houston sat starters, but they needed to win the game going in to be able to get into the postseason. So they beat a divisional leader, Houston, beat a divisional leader in New England, beat a divisional leader and the 1 seed in Baltimore. And next week, if they were to win the game, they would beat all 4 divisional winners to go to the Super Bowl. That would be a first in a row. As Watson goes out of bounds after a gain of 7. We were there in November in Nashville.
We did.
When that one was a great game to watch. When Kansas City and Tennessee played.
And this was the start of Ryan Tannehill coming in, really. I mean, he'd already played a game or two, and at that point right there, it was like, whoa. I remember watching it. A couple things had to go Tennessee's way when we did that game.
Yep.
You know, the block kick or something. But this Tennessee team you see now is so confident. They shorten football games. You only get 6 to 8, 9 possessions a game, sometimes 2 for a quarter in the second half.
Ball off the hands of Stills, and it's 4th and 3.
They protect the football, and they basically, you know, to me, if you can't stop Derrick Henry, the problem is they have such a good play-action game that it is going to be very difficult. It's not going to be easy for Kansas City. This is a formidable opponent, much better than people know, and they're very smart on both sides of the ball, and they have a scheme defensive coordinator in Dean Pease who will make it tougher, I believe, on Kansas City and a lot of the stuff they do. But saying all that, Kansas City's the most dominant offensive team in football, period.
Their defense now trying to take Houston off the field. On 4th and 3. Out of the backfield, Johnson will keep him on the field. Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry, Tony, this has been a 2-week stretch for him. I mean, even going back to the Houston game, week 17, when he won the rushing title and went over 200 yards in that game. This was a guy that had a hamstring injury that kept him out of week 16. I guess that's gone away. He's been incredible to watch.
Yeah, he's been the best player, you know, over the last month, really. Just no one's running like that. I mean, they basically did to Baltimore what Baltimore does to everybody else.
You set it down for Houston. Down the middle and off the hands of Fells. And Fuller was there defending.
And you see the shot. It's a pretty good throw. Just has to turn his hands back behind him just an inch.
Houston's Jordan Akins inactive today with a hamstring injury. Was not even traveled to Kansas City, and he was a guy that could be very effective in a part of the offense. Caught 36 passes on the season. Didn't have him today. 2nd and 10. Thrown up in the air as the edges
were
being compromised. And yes, the flags are down at midfield.
Fuller was gone. That was a touchdown. Actually, a smart play by Matthew to pull him. I don't love that.
Pass interference. Defense number 32. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
By the way, I mean, here's Houston. As you see the right here, Matthew holding on to the jersey.
Well, they pressured him, and that's what I was saying. I don't really love that right there. It's like you're going to all-out pressure, possibly give them a quick score. The only way that they have a chance would be if they scored something in a play, you know, or two on one of these 3 drives. You have to have one of them has to be just instantaneous, and then you have to get an onside, or the ball's got to bounce your way. I mean,
first down. Owen Fells, and you see a man open down the field that Watson was unable to find.
And that's moving around. You've got an opportunity, and Watson moving around and then just finding Fells. I thought he had a shot at Stills if he'd have got his eyes back over there, but
Kelsey and Mahomes.
I mean, how about the day Kelsey had?
How about the 2 of them together?
I mean, and Mahomes with a perfect 3-quarter stretch, you could call it. And honestly, he had 2 drops. I mean, after the first 3 drives, 2 of them were drops. That's how the drives ended.
It ended both the first 2 drives.
It's almost a perfect game in a lot of ways.
Watson, that's another sack put up. That's Dorian O'Daniel. making the play, and now it's 3rd and 11. This defense of Kansas City, now it's, of course, there was a special teams touchdown put up by the Texans, but Kansas City over the last 6 games allowed the fewest points in the league. And talking to Steve Spagnuolo, how this team gelled, and one of the things was really key to him, how proud he was of the staff that he got to put together. Guys that he knew, that Andy knew, and he was effusive about how valuable they've been.
And the defensive staff are the ones who taught all these players. Steve can only do so much, and he brought the system, but these guys have to, the linebacker coach, the defensive backs coach, D-line. That's who teaches the players daily. And once they learn this system, they fly around like this.
Houston has another 4th and 3 coming up. Spagnuolo, who was out of the NFL last year, he was living in the Philadelphia area, watching the Kansas City games and rooting for his pal Andy Reid, and he would spend his Mondays at NFL Films. He'd go in there and watch every play from every game. He wanted to stay in the game.
It's incredible, and that you see right there a guy who took down Tom Brady in the 07 Super Bowl against that 16-0 team. That I played against Steve Spagnuolo. If you're a passing team, you don't want to see him a lot because he does a lot of different things that make it difficult. Today, Houston can run the ball, so it minimized some of that.
4th and 2, Watson on the run, and it's incomplete. It was high for Hopkins. And again, Kansas City takes over on downs.
All day, just making it difficult. Watson trying to extend, and the ball just gets high. A couple of high throws late that have ended a couple drives, and Bill knows that was probably their last chance, if there was. And give them credit. They did a great job this season getting to this point.
Won a division for the 4th time in the last 5 years.
Yep. They knew how important winning that game last week was.
I mean, they beat a Buffalo team that had a great year.
Yes, they did.
They're going to be dangerous for a long time to go. Here's a handoff to Damian Williams. Don't forget, coming up after the game, the State Farm post-game show. JB and the crew will once again discuss what they saw here, what they see coming up next week back here at Arrowhead in the AFC Championship game. That's all coming up on the State Farm post-game show. They're going to be joining us on site next week for that title matchup on the AFC side. In fact, Mike Vrabel and the Titans coming in. Mike Vrabel was drafted into the NFL by Coach Cowher and the Steelers in 1997. That's Martin with the tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
I mean, the depth of the teams in the AFC, I mean, from 1 to 6. Tennessee's the 6th seed. They're in the AFC title game.
Yep. It's going to be a 2 versus 6 matchup.
Yeah, and you talked about Buffalo. Buffalo's really good. Houston's obviously really good. I mean, Kansas City, we know how special they are. I mean, just...
Well, you know what happened here? How things all started going in a new direction was because of Miami and Fitzmagic on week 17. Makes that drive down the field at Gillette, beats the Patriots, takes them out of the bye and drops them back to the 3. Otherwise, and no one saw that coming, otherwise it would have been Tennessee at Kansas City last week in the wild card round.
Yeah, they would have been playing in the wild card. Instead, it's the AFC Championship game. You're exactly right. Tennessee, Kansas City most likely. Our producers still won't call that obvious.
Sounds like you're still hedging a little bit there too, partner.
There's not much hedge.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But
Their 3rd and final timeout. 30 seconds of life.
Timeout again by Houston tonight on CBS. Begins with 60 Minutes. And again, actor Joaquin Phoenix, tennis star Rafael Nadal, followed by new episodes of God Friended Me, NCIS Los Angeles, plus FBI Most Wanted tonight, only CBS. And, you know, I want to say this because you watch, you listen, you hear a lot of things. What Ryan Tannehill did to spark this Tennessee team we're going to see coming here next week.
He's played outstanding.
After week 6. And now they get to the postseason. They've won 2 games. He's done everything that's been asked. But you look at the graphics, you look at all the lower third stuff and the discussions. You know, Tannehill hasn't thrown for 100 yards in either one of their wins.
Well, he doesn't have to.
That is called taking the numbers and using it as weaponry for a misleading message.
He's playing great.
I mean, yesterday he threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for 1. He only had to throw it 14 times. He did what he had to do, right?
If you're throwing 14 times, you're not going to get to 150 yards very often. I mean, it's the playoffs. It's about winning, and he's doing everything that it takes. If they needed 300 yards, he'd have an opportunity probably. He's done that plenty of times this year. And I think you're seeing them impose their will right now on teams, and they've just been more physical up front.
It's going to be quite a matchup. That's Pringle down there downing it. Chiefs clicking on all phases. It wasn't that way the first 15 minutes of this game. Largest comeback wins in postseason history. Well, City of Houston knows all about that first one. Buffalo 35-3 down to the Oilers in the 92 wild card.
I want to know.
And Kansas City knows about the second one. The game Indianapolis came back from 28 down.
I want to know who had the largest comeback win. I want to know who had the largest comeback win in a quarter, because they just made that up in a quarter.
It had to be.
It was 24-0 right after the first quarter.
Yep.
And then it was 28-24.
Well,
so they didn't come back in the game. They came back in a quarter, right? And then it was probably.
As Johnson takes it out to about the 16. They kicked the field goal in the opening minutes. Houston did. And they had that decision to make. He thought they had the wrong personnel grouping out there, but they were at the, what was it, around at the Kansas City 10-yard line, had 4th and a foot. They looked like they were going to go for it. Ended up having to call a timeout and kick the field goal.
That's 24-0, early second quarter, you're right. And then it just, the onslaught just began.
Yeah, I mean, right with the kick return after the field goal by Hardman.
That was so huge, because until then it was just a tentative game on their part. And that freed everybody up. They were now all of a sudden, okay, we can do this. Just needed something, a spark. Sometimes there's just a spark to light a fire, Jim.
That's
inside of you. Come on, Jim.
That is J.J. Watt. How about you? Come on, man. Deshaun Watson. That was his line.
Was it?
That was his line last week at Houston.
It's pretty good.
J.J. provided the spark. Watson turned it into a fire.
They did a great job this year. Just ran into a team that's...
And that's going to pick up a first down as we have 3 minutes fast approaching.
Just a rare team, this Kansas City, this offense. You have the perfect mix of Andy Reid's scheme and Travis Kelce's ability to do everything at the tight end position. Tyreek Hill's next level speed, and then the gracefulness and just really ingenuity and the ability of Patrick Mahomes. It's just a lot to deal with.
Dumps it off incomplete. Andy Reid, one step closer to coaching in a second Super Bowl. He took the Eagles in 2004. And this is going to be his 220th all-time win, regular and post, which, Tony, is the 6th most all-time.
And I tell you right now, he's got the most without a Super Bowl, I believe, all-time.
Yes.
In wins.
Most wins without a 5th Super Bowl victory.
I mean, Andy Reid is at the top of any coaching tree that people talk about, and I think for some people they need that Super Bowl.
Nice catch. That's Fuller.
He needs that Super Bowl to go into that next category, right, that people hold, and I think he's already there. He's that good, but I think that a lot of people are rooting, for Andy Reid to get that Super Bowl, because he has so many people in the NFL that look up to him, and he started so many of their careers, and they're all around, and he's been good for a long, long time, and he's got a great opportunity in front of him, but he's got 2 big-time opponents who, we know one's Tennessee.
30-yard pass play to Fuller. Johnson tries to get out, and he does. Yeah, Andy Reid in the coaching fraternity, there is nothing but respect right across the other 31 franchises. Here's a franchise in Kansas City that had never hosted an AFL or AFC championship game in its first 58 years of existence. and then hosted last year, and now going to host back-to-back years under Andy Reid.
You know how that one team in New England, they're pretty good. They're still going to be good. I really believe that Bill Belichick's always going to figure a way out. Tom Brady's rare and crazy special.
On the sideline, catch by Carter.
But it's slowly feeling like Kansas City's going to be the team that you have to play really good to go in and win, right? It's like they're the team each year that you know is just going to be there at the end, and you see his foot. Good job dragging by Carter.
What you're saying is there's a foundation here that, you know, you got Mahomes in just his third year. This could be a great 10 years ahead for Kansas City.
I mean, Mahomes has played 2 seasons. He's playing in his second AFC championship.
That's right.
It's going to be, I mean, it's like remember Tom Brady starting that career? Played in a lot of them pretty early on.
So Fells and another 9. By the way, Deshaun Watson now with 374 yards passing in the game.
He's played great. I really think they just can't give up 48, 44, whatever points in a row in a playoff game. It's just, you're not winning.
Coming after him. He got it away. It's Taiwan Jones. Jones takes it down into the red zone. 15-yard pickup. 2-minute warning. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Indeed, the world's #1 job site. And by Royal Caribbean, come seek. State Farm post-game show coming up soon. We'll go back to the studio in New York for JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Hall of Famer Coach Gower. All the highlights from this game coming up on the State Farm post-game show. But not before Houston can put up another touchdown. Eight yards away.
And Deshaun's trying to guess, are they coming? Are they not coming? And they're not.
He points, he runs, he throws, and it is incomplete as Damian Wilson helped jar that out of the hands of Duke Johnson.
I mean, this is where Steve Spagnuolo makes it really tough when he knows you're passing. No one's deep. Everyone's on the line. Who's coming, who's not? Now watch what happens right here on the inside. They bracket somebody. People are double-teamed on the inside. Hopkins was doubled. Fells was doubled. I mean,
went right through his hands.
It does, and you see that's still Watson goes and makes a play. But that's why, if you're a passing team, Steve Spagnuolo is as difficult to deal with as anybody. But if you're a running team, there's only so much you can do as a coordinator. You got to line up and you got to play. And that's what they'll be facing next week, Jim.
Toss. Hopkins broken up by Ward.
That's a good job by Ward. These back shoulder fades in the end zone right here are always very physical. There we are, almost. Yes. There's a ball coming into your screen right there. See how physical it is at the top. It's always about who gets a little bit of leverage.
Third and goal. Now 143.
Guess what? Everyone was up there before they bailed out. I'm saying here they all come, Jim.
Here they do. Pass incomplete. Broken up by Breland. Fuller the target. And now it's 4th and goal.
It's a good job. They send more guys than you have to block. Clark comes free and gives a little awkward turn of the shoulder, being like, eh. And now you're going to see the exact same thing, Jim.
Going to bring everybody?
There's going to have Steve Spagnuolo's going to line up. Everyone's going to get soft. Watch all these guys. Hey, you go here. I'm not coming. I'm just lazy, right? I'm Sorensen. I have nothing to do here. Don't look at me. I would never blitz right in this guy.
And here he comes. Here comes Clark. Clark gets him all the way back at the 25. He's down. That's why they went out and got Frank Clark. make plays like that. He wasn't healthy the first half of the season, and not even though he played healthy for that first matchup with Houston, but he's been making a difference late in the season for sure.
Well, Clark comes free because they're sending one more guy than you have. That's everybody, and he is see the speed. I mean, for someone to really get Watson down one-on-one with that much space shows you the ability. And Patrick Mahomes with an incredible performance today.
The Kansas City defense put up 5 sacks in this game.
Well, and that's a big difference. They didn't sack Watson once in week 6.
That's right. One of only 2 games this year they did not have a sack. They got him again 5 times today. They're the first team ever in the postseason to win by 20 after trailing by at least 20 in a postseason game. We're going to have Tennessee and Kansas City on this field next Sunday afternoon.
You want a stylistic matchup?
That's it, isn't it?
Completely opposite. You're getting it. This reminds me of like a Bill Walsh 49ers versus the Giants in the 80s, you know, the Bears, it's something like that. And it's coming next week. It's gonna be unbelievable.
The last time the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl was 50 years ago. They are 1 game away from going back. They won the Super Bowl down in New Orleans. They matriculated down to the Crescent City with Hank Stram and company and Lynn Dawson. They won that Super Bowl 50 years ago yesterday, and now they're 1 game away from going back to the big game.
Early on in this game, we talked about having them go through a little adversity. Mahomes was out, not quite as dominant people thought at stretches this year. Andy Reid stayed the course, kept everyone mind going forward, keep improving 1 game at a time. But that makes you mentally stronger. And they were down today 24-0, and they stayed with it. They're a mentally strong team. That gives you a chance.
It was a shaky start for sure, but then they turned on the afterburners, and they were just brilliant the rest of the way. Chiefs take it 51-31. Coming up next, the State Farm postgame show for Tony, Tracy, Jay Feely, and Gene Steratore. Jim Nance saying so long from Kansas City, and we'll join JB in New York right after this.